Chapter 678. Lin Xian glanced at them and shrugged his shoulders. Then you can go back. After saying that, they continued to walk forward. The 10 people who followed them all chose to stop. They couldn't understand one thing. Everyone's cultivation level was similar, so how could they persist for so long? Indeed, Lin Xian and the rest wouldn't be able to hold on under normal circumstances. Only Murong Qing was fine, but why did she look fine? It was all thanks to Ling Long Shui's spirit recovery pill. At least, it could ensure that her spiritual power was abundant. Murong Qing didn't need it, but Lin Xian, Ling Ying, and Han Chushue would take it. As for the miserable Wang Haiyang. Young Master Lin, what are you eating? Wang Haiyang looked at the spirit recovery pill that Lin Xian stuffed into his mouth. Oh candy. It's going to melt if you don't eat it. Eating a little in such an environment will help you relax. Wang Haiyang smiled bitterly. He was really King considerate. Eating candy at this time. He couldn't hold on any longer. Fortunately, he had a spiritual tool that could restore spiritual power. Otherwise, he would have left long ago. However, he also wanted to give up, but he couldn't. If he gave up now, how could he pursue Han Chushue? Wang Haiyang then looked at Lin Xian. He was also sweating profusely, but he seemed to be quite relaxed. Wang Haiyang thought for a moment. This should also be a way to pick up girls. No matter what, he had to show the masculinity of a man. He could not admit defeat. It seemed that Lin Xian was also deliberately persevering. How could he give up? It was just that. At this moment the 2 backpacks were like 2 small mountains in his eyes. *CK. It was too heavy. His mentality collapsed. What a strong smell of blood. Lin Xian originally wanted to taunt Wang Haiyang again, but suddenly, he sensed a thick stench of blood in the air. This space could be considered to be sealed. In a tunnel that extended in all directions, if there was any smell, coupled with the high temperature here, it would be very thick. Lin Xian then hurriedly walked forward. They stopped where they were. There were dozens of corpses in front of them. To be precise, these corpses were not piled up together. Instead they formed a path. Some of them had fallen together, while some were more than 10 meters apart. They also understood why there was such a strong smell of blood. These people had died in a rather gruesome manner. They were bleeding from all orifices. Even Ling Ying, Han Chushue, and the others couldn't help but feel disgusted when they saw this scene. Wang Haiyang had seen corpses before, but he had never seen something like this. Coupled with the thick smell of blood and the fear in his heart, he was about to collapse. If it weren't for Han Chushue, he would have completely collapsed. But in the end, his reason told him that he couldn't collapse. He had to endure it. There are a few people here who seem to have paid me before. They died not long ago. Lin Xian glanced at them and said, "How did they die?" Ling Ying asked. "There are no external injuries, so I don't know." Step back. Lin Xian felt that something was wrong. If there were no external injuries, how did he die? Bleeding from their 7 orifices, it didn't seem like they were killed by demonic beasts. Then Lin Xian activated his Eye of Cave Spirit. It didn't matter if he didn't activate it. But once he did, Lin Xian saw that something was wrong. Because in the air in front of this tunnel, under the investigation of the Eye of Cave Spirit, he saw some small things flying. They were flying very slowly, but they didn't seem like insects. Because their movements were more like tiny dust particles floating in the air. They could only move according to the airflow. Because Lin Xian and the others had stepped back, these tiny things that couldn't be seen with the naked eye were moving along with the airflow behind them. Lin Xian then looked back. There weren't any behind them, only this tunnel. "Let's change to another path," Lin Xian said. Then they turned back and changed to another path. Although this path was connected in all directions, there were only a few paths that continued forward. They saw another tunnel. There were also some corpses, but there weren't as many as the previous one. However, this tunnel also had those indescribable little things flying. What was this? Lin Xian didn't know. He had never seen this before. I say, beautiful sister, can you feel that something is wrong? Lin Xian asked Murong Qing. Murong Qing's realm wasn't low, but she couldn't see these tiny things that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. She shook her head. Lin Xian said, there is a kind of microorganism floating in the air. I've seen it. Can only be found in places with corpses. We shouldn't have seen it before. Plus, these corpses don't have any external injuries. I feel that it might be related to these floating microorganisms. Microorganisms? How do you know? Murong Qing asked doubtfully. Was this something that a person could detect without using any equipment? Lin Xian nodded and didn't explain. Murong Qing felt that this scene was indeed strange. Since Lin Xian said it, she didn't ask anymore. She carefully thought about it. It can't be the Martian worm, right? Han Chushue suddenly said. Martian worm? Chushue, what is that? Wang Haiyang asked. The others also looked at Han Chushue. Han Chushue said, I've seen it before. The Mars bug is a very tiny creature. It can't fly, but because it's so tiny, it can float along with the flow of air. Once this tiny creature is sucked into the body, it will heat up in a short period of time. Even a heavenly venerable powerhouse will find it difficult to resist this internal damage and will die in a very short period of time. This is because the Mars bug can ignore a martial artist's defense when it is sucked into the body. Once it enters the body, it will enter the creature's weak point. There is such a thing. Lin Xian showed a surprised expression. Han Chushue nodded. Well, although this creature is small, its vitality is extremely strong. Can survive in extreme cold or high temperature. But there is one thing. As long as there is a Martian worm, there must be a powerful demon beast. The lowest level is a heavenly venerable demon beast, because most of the Martian worms live in such demon beasts. Lin Xian. This place was getting more and more dangerous. That is to say, there is a heavenly venerable demon beast here. Wang Haiyang swallowed a mouthful of saliva. If that is really a Martian worm, then there must be a heavenly venerable demon beast. Han Chushue said. Then let's go. A heavenly venerable demon beast is an existence that we can't stop. Wang Haiyang hurriedly said. He was completely terrified. Han Chushue looked at Lin Xian. Murong Qing said. As far as I know, there are many Empyrean powerhouses who came here before us. They are deeper in. It seems that there isn't much distance left. You decide whether to go in or go in. Chapter 679. Lin Xian pondered for a moment. His eye of cave spirit saw not only the Mars worms, but also the terrifying spiritual energy fluctuations in the depths. Intuition. No, the truth told him that there were real treasures inside. Go in, Lin Xian said. Han Chushue, Ling Ying, and Murong Qing smiled. They also wanted to go in, but when they heard Lin Xian say, go in, they smiled. This was what they wanted to see. There was no doubt that it was dangerous, but wasn't there Murong Qing, a heavenly venerable with a time attribute? Time was a terrifying attribute. So what if it was a heavenly venerable beast? If they couldn't beat it, they could just run. Moreover, they all wanted to go in. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Wang Haiyang completely collapsed. He didn't want to die. Women were important, but were they more important than his own life? At this moment, a voice came from behind them. Xinue, how many times have I told you? This place is dangerous. Let's just go in. Can't you see that the surrounding passages are filled with corpses? Let's go back and invite the two powerhouses to come back. You go, I'll wait for you. Xiao Xinue said indifferently. Why are you so stubborn? I'm thinking for your safety. As the two of them chatted, they walked over and happened to walk behind Lin Xian and the others. It's you guys. Gong Sun Jun was slightly stunned when he saw them. These people also came here. I say, the front is so dangerous. You guys still want to go in? Gong Sun Jun asked. Hearing Gong Sun Jun's words, coupled with his previous intentions, Wang Haiyang knew that he was going to back down. I feel that this place is very dangerous. We have to find a heavenly venerable powerhouse. I think we should wait for one and go in together. Wang Haiyang said. Oh. Young Master Wang, are you afraid? Lin Xian asked with a smile. How is that possible? I just don't want to put everyone in danger, especially Chushue. They felt awkward when they heard this. How about this, let's wait for a while. Wang Haiyang said. Gong Sun Jun looked at Xiao Xinyu and said, That's right. We'll come again. Xinyu, it's fine if we're late. Xiao Xinyue's beautiful eyes looked at the corpse in front of her. She seemed to have some confidence. The most important thing was that they were too scared. That's right. Although women are important, what's the use if you lose your life? Lin Xian was different. He knew that he had a heavenly venerable realm powerhouse with him, so he wasn't afraid. Otherwise, Lin Xian would probably be the same as these two. For safety's sake, of course. However, Han Chushue and Ling Ying would certainly listen to him. If he wanted to leave, they would definitely leave. However, Xiao Xinyue and Gong Sun Jun were different. She had her own thoughts, and it was impossible for her to be influenced by Gong Sun Jun. How about this, young Master Wang? Why don't you go to the back and look for reinforcements for us? We'll go in first. When we find reinforcements, you can bring them over to support us. How about that? Lin Xian said to Wang Haiyang. In fact, Wang Haiyang was very happy. It was much better if he didn't say it out loud. However, he still pretended to be hesitant. No, I must stay with you guys. Only then can I be more assured. Wang Haiyang said. That's right. Don't go in first. Isn't it better if we find some powerhouses to go in together? Gong Sun Jun also said. He had just caught up with Xiao Xinyue and hadn't even held her hand. He didn't want anything to happen to Xiao Xinyue inside. Of course, he didn't want to die inside. However, he couldn't stop Xiao Xinyue. He didn't dare to go in. This was the most embarrassing thing. The smell of blood in front of him and the corpses in front of him all shook his heart. Everyone was afraid of death, especially those who came from an outstanding family. They were even more afraid of death because they had more. If they died, they would lose everything. They were even more reluctant to part with it. Then let's go in together, Lin Xian said. Alu. Wang Haiyang was stunned. Go in. *CK. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have acted so pretentiously. Then what? Wang Haiyang suddenly said. Is there anything else? I think it's best to wait for the powerhouses to go in together. After all, there are heavenly venerable realm demonic beasts inside. Brother Gong Sun Jun, what do you think? What? Heavenly venerable realm demonic beasts. Gong Sun Jun showed a shocked expression. Yes, heavenly venerable realm demonic beasts. If there are no heavenly venerable realm powerhouses, wouldn't it be suicide to go in? Gong Sun Jun swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He originally thought that he might be able to go deeper with Xiao Xinyue, but now he didn't dare to. Xiao Xinyue didn't seem to be surprised. It was as if she already knew that there would be heavenly venerable realm demonic beasts inside. Gong Sun Jun then looked at Xiao Xinyue and said, Xinyue, did you hear that? There are heavenly venerable realm demonic beasts inside. You can't go in. Listen to me. Let's find 2 heavenly venerable realm powerhouses and then go in together. Go ahead. I'll wait for you inside. Xiao Xinyue said and walked straight to the path of corpses. Hey Xinyue. Xiao Xinyue didn't respond. Gong Sun Jun then quickly shouted. Then you must be careful. I'm going to find a heavenly venerable realm powerhouse now. Lin Xian smiled and said, Then let's go in too. After saying that, the few of them also walked in. Young Master Lin Chushue, I'm going to find a powerhouse too. I'll definitely find one. Take this bag with you. Wang Haiyang threw the bag to Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved his hand and then walked in. Hoo! Wang Haiyang and Gong Sun Jun both took a deep breath. They felt like they were out of danger. However, they were unwilling. What if the woman they liked really died inside? Young Master Wang, let's go find a powerhouse together. Gong Sunjun said. Okay, let's go back. They were indeed going to find a powerhouse, but whether they could find one or not was uncertain. They really cared about the girl inside, but compared to their own lives, it didn't seem important. It was better to protect their own lives first. Hey, beauty! Lin Xian called Xiao Xingyue from behind. Ling Ying rolled his eyes, extremely unhappy. It was normal for a guy to call a girl a beauty, but this Xiao Xingyue was indeed too beautiful. However, after thinking about it, he let it go. After all, she had a boyfriend. What's the matter? Xiao Xingyue stopped. This passage is very dangerous, Lin Xian said. Xiao Xingyue nodded, then took out a mosquito coil. Mars bugs are bugs. They're the most afraid of these things. She touched the wall for a while, and the scorching temperature ignited the mosquito coil. Then, Lin Xian could see with his eye of spiritual insight that the Mars bugs were trying their best to fly away, but they couldn't. Then, one by one, they fell to the ground. This Xiao Xingyue was quite something. She actually knew there were Mars bugs here. Moreover, could these Mars bugs be destroyed so easily? Chapter 680. The few of them looked at each other. Did mosquito coil really destroy the Mars beetle? Although they couldn't see it, they could see that Xiao Xingyue was fine even after walking into the danger zone. That meant that mosquito coil could really destroy the Mars beetle. Let's go, Lin Xian said to them and then led the way. Hey. Are you sure you're fine? Ling Ying pulled Lin Xian. It's fine. Just follow me. Hey. Lin Xian looked at Xiao Xingyue in front of him. Why did this woman make Lin Xian feel as if she also had the eye of insight? Or rather, she was quite familiar with this place. Hey, have you been here before? Lin Xian moved to Xiao Xingyue's side and asked. Ing. Feeling Ling Ying's displeasure, Prince Charming points plus 20,000. Ing. Feeling Han Chushua's jealousy, Prince Charming points plus 20,000. It was fine if Lin Xian didn't go, but once he did, the two girls were jealous. Even Han Chushue was jealous. Look, there were 3 beauties here, and this bastard still went to talk to another beauty. Wasn't this infuriating? Chushu, look at this bastard. All men are like this. Ling Ying gritted her teeth and angrily stared at Lin Xian's back. Han Chushue also helplessly shook her head. What could they do? Men. No, men can't be spoiled. Ling Ying angrily pouted her little mouth. In front of your 2 girlfriends, you still went to talk to other big sisters. Murong Qing smiled at them. Originally, she didn't think that Lin Xian had a close relationship with these 2 girls. But as an outsider, she saw Lin Xian talking to Xiao Xingyue and clearly saw their jealousy. This was a bit interesting. If a girl didn't like a guy, why would she be jealous? This Lin Xian was quite something. Did he really steal away Ling Ying and Han Chushua's hearts? Aren't all men like this? There are no men who aren't fickle. The main thing is whether they are fickle or have thoughts about the lower half of their body. But doesn't that girl have a boyfriend? Shouldn't be what you think. That girl actually knew how to use such a simple method to get rid of the Mars beetle. Although it's simple, not everyone knows about it. She should be familiar with the situation here. Lin Xian might be asking her about the situation here. After all, who would have the time to flirt in such an environment, right? Murong Qing also put in a good word for Lin Xian. Ling Ying nodded. That's true. After all, she also has a boyfriend. If Lin Xian has such thoughts about a girl who has a boyfriend, then he is a real scumbag. If Lin Xian knew about this, he would definitely not be happy. I won't allow you to frame me. I just want to pick up girls. Xiao Xingyue said indifferently. No. Lin Xian frowned. No. You really haven't been here before. If you haven't been here before, then how do you know that there are Mars beetles here? You even specially prepared mosquito coils that martial artists wouldn't bring outside for them. Lin Xian asked curiously. Guess. Xiao Xingyue replied indifferently. Lin Xian. He didn't know if what she said was true or not. She guessed. That was too amazing, right? Xiao Xinyu seemed to feel that such an answer was a little inappropriate. After all, he did help her. Moreover, she might need his space attribute to return later. She then added, "There are many places where my family lives. After seeing so many, I know what kind of places have Mars beetles. Although I can't see them, I can guess." Lin Xian suddenly understood. "But aren't you afraid? Since you know that there are Mars beetles here, then you should also know that there are heavenly venerable realm demonic beasts here." Lin Xian asked. Xiao Xinyu glanced at Lin Xian and continued walking. "At most, I'll just die." "Lin Xian, that won't do. You have to be responsible for your family. If you die, what will happen to your family? And your boyfriend?" Lin Xian touched the tip of his nose and said. Xiao Xinyu frowned slightly. She ignored Lin Xian and continued walking. This girl was quite arrogant. You could basically think of her as the second Han Chuxue. However, she was actually taken by another man. That didn't match the logic of her personality. Unless she really liked him. Really liked him. Lin Xian didn't think so. Because in the conversation between her and Gong Sun Jun, whether it was words or expressions, Lin Xian couldn't see any signs of liking her. "But your boyfriend is a little bad. He left you here alone and ran away alone." Lin Xian followed and sighed. After all, this girl was his mission target. Although she already had a boyfriend, and although breaking up others was a very shameful thing to do, but there was no other way. If he couldn't get her, the Jade Marrow liquid would be gone, the Art Pavilion Group would go bankrupt, and Lin Xian wouldn't have the capital to build his own force. This was the price of the mission's punishment. Therefore, in order to complete his mission, she was the target that Lin Xian had to complete. Although it was a little shameless, there was no other way. In any case, he was used to being a scumbag. He said that he was going to find powerhouses to help. From this sentence, it was clear that although Xiao Xinyue's personality was cold and arrogant, and she was also very smart, she was a little naive. Especially when it came to matters between men and women. She was simply too naive. "Sigh, then you don't understand men very well." Lin Xian sighed. Of course, he knew that Xiao Xinyu wouldn't ask why, but in her heart, she must be puzzled by Lin Xian's words. Therefore, after Lin Xian finished speaking, he didn't wait for her to ask and directly said, "It's not that I want to say bad things, huh? You said that it's not a problem to find powerhouses. I also heard that he went to find powerhouses because you didn't want to go back. But for a man who truly loves you and is willing to give up his life for you, would he really leave you alone in such a dangerous place? Anyway, if it was me, if I really fell in love with a girl in such an environment, I would rather not look for powerhouses. I would rather stay by her side. That way I would be at ease. Even if I die, I would die with her. It's not that he went to find powerhouses because you didn't want to go back. What do you think?" The more Lin Xian spoke, the deeper Xiao Xinyue's brows furrowed. That was because she felt that it made sense. However, "But I think that what he did wasn't wrong, and I was the one who asked him to do it." After saying that, she quickened her pace. Lin Xian. Then Lin Xian secretly shook his head. Why was this woman so stupid? If he had known that she was so stupid and stubborn, Lin Xian would have taken action before they confirmed their relationship. Chapter 681. At this time, Ling Ying and the others walked over. Yo, young Master Lin seems to have made a girl unhappy. Ling Ying curled his lips and said. Lin Xian scratched his head. No, I'm just asking her why she's so familiar with the situation here. Then what did you ask? Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders. Nothing much, it's even harder to talk to than Chuxue in the past. Han Chuxue. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Han Chuxue muttered. I'm not ignoring you. The first time they met after they met was when they hugged. Han Chuxue already knew that Lin Xian was the person who saved her, and she already had a crush on him. Naturally, it was impossible for her not to chat with Lin Xian. Ha ha, I'm just kidding, Chuxue is still very gentle. Lin Xian laughed. So you're saying that I'm not gentle? Ling Ying rolled his eyes. No. You're gentle too, gentle yuppie. Humph. Hypocrite. Then they also quickened their pace and walked forward. Murong Qing walked over and said with a smile, hypocrite. Then she walked away. Lin Xian. F***ck. In front, Xiao Xinhua stopped in her tracks. Room. Why is there a room here? Lin Xian and the others walked over with a shocked expression. That's right, they were walking in a place that might already be underground, and there should be magma flowing underground. Moreover, they were in a very deep place, but in such a situation, there was actually a room here. It was obvious that this should be a secret door, and there was one on the left and right sides of the passage, but it should have been discovered by the experts before them and opened it. The reason why this was not another passage was because there was only one room with a table, chair, cabinet, and some small boxes. It was a very simple stone house. Lin Xian scanned the room with his eye of cave spirit. There were no traps. No, to be precise, the traps had already been triggered. There were several corpses in both rooms. Logically speaking, those who could come to this place were probably at least at the Law Realm. Furthermore, they must have been very knowledgeable and had used a special method to discover the Stardust bug but had not been attacked by it. Even the weakest Law Realm existence had died under the mechanism, so there was no need to say how terrifying the mechanism was. But now, it didn't seem that important anymore. Everyone knew that there were demonic beasts here. But was the room behind the secret door made by demonic beasts? Demonic beasts need tables and chairs. The only thing I can think of is that the demonic beast in human form is here. Murong Qing murmured. In fact, it was easy for demonic beasts to take human form. It mainly depended on their bloodline. Most demonic beasts might need to be at the domain realm or the heavenly venerate realm before they could take human form. However, some demonic beasts with more powerful bloodlines, such as those at the Thunder Tribulation realm or the Law realm, could take human form. Therefore, no one could say how strong demonic beasts that took human form were. In any case, they would not be too weak. No, this is not a place to live. This is a mechanism. Lin Xian said as he walked in. Several people followed him in. Look, there are 3 wooden boxes here. The wooden boxes have all been opened, and the 3rd wooden box is where the mechanism is. These 4 martial artists were burned alive. I guess this mechanism should have instantly filled the room with flames that can kill powerhouses instantly. This kind of flame must have surpassed the magma level. That is a powerful fire attribute power, such as the power left behind by a fire attribute demonic beast in advance. Lin Xian said. Then why did they open the wooden boxes? Ling Ying asked. Are you stupid? In such a place, a room with 3 wooden boxes on the table in the room appeared. If it were you, would you open them? Ling Ying nodded. Yes, that's right. In my opinion, the current situation here is similar to the ruins of powerhouses in the fantasy novels we read. Everyone, needless to say, they really felt that way. Then what's the point? Lin Xian shook his head. How would he know? He also wanted to know why there would be a secret door in such a place where demonic beasts should live. Behind the secret door was a room with a table and chairs, as well as a mechanism. It was as if it was waiting for people to come and then use the mechanism to kill them. To be precise, it was to kill those greedy humans who were blinded by greed. Was this a trap? Lin Xian also did not know. I heard a rumor, Xiao Xinhua suddenly said. Everyone looked at her. The rumor is that this holy dragon flame cave is a place where a dragon lives. We know this too. Everyone knows it. Lin Xian said. Xiao Xin then continued. But I also know that based on this holy dragon flame cave is the place where the real dragon is buried. Several people looked at each other. You're saying that the dragon is dead? Lin Xian asked. Xiao Xinhua nodded. Yes, this is just what I heard, but I'm not sure. Lin Xian said. If this is the tomb of the powerful dragons, then it does make sense. Why does this place have a déjà vu feeling like it's the remains of a powerful expert? That's because dragons must be extremely powerful existences. When a powerful expert fell, they naturally did not want their burial place to be disturbed, so they set up a mechanism to prevent outsiders from entering. The demonic beasts would use this place to cultivate and instead become the guardian of this place. With such a deep place, I'm afraid there are even more dangerous mechanisms inside that even demonic beasts can't enter. How do you know? Murong Qing asked. Guess. Aren't those fantasy novels all written like this? Everyone. But I feel that it makes sense, Han Chushue said. If that's true, then following its fall, there must be a lot of treasures that were buried with it. Ling Ying's eyes lit up. Hey, I said that this shouldn't be what we should be concerned about now. If this is really the case, then the danger is unimaginable. Murong Qing said helplessly. That's true. Ling Ying sighed. Then are we still going? This was a very important question. Should they go deeper or not? I want to go, Lin Xian said. Then let's go. Since Lin Xian said so, Ling Ying said without hesitation. Xiao Xinyue naturally wanted to go as well. This kind of place was dangerous for a martial artist, but at the same time, it was a place that could change a person's life. Danger and opportunity coexisted. Since they knew it was dangerous and still came, then they shouldn't stop. Of course, stopping might be a wise choice, but they didn't want to stop. Xiao Xinyue directly walked out. Lin Xian and the others were about to follow her out, but they suddenly found that Xiao Xinyue, who had just left, had rushed back in again. Bang! She slammed her hand, and with a burst of power, she directly closed the secret door. What's wrong? Everyone was puzzled. Chapter 682. Just as they finished asking, they felt a terrifying power flowing rapidly in the passage outside. The entire space was trembling, and the surrounding temperature had increased exponentially. It was already hot here, but they could withstand it. However, the current situation was... Their room was like an oven. Shua Hanchushue and Xiao Xinyue released their ice attribute power at the same time. The ice attribute power lowered the temperature in the room, but the temperature increase was simply too exaggerated. Even if the two of them kept releasing their ice attribute power, the temperature was still rising. Even if they used all their power, they could not stop the temperature increase. They could only slow down the temperature increase slightly. The ice that had just appeared melted into water. What's going on? Lin Xian hurriedly asked. Xiao Xinyue's face was dripping with sweat. She gritted her teeth and said while releasing her power, "Flames are filling the Holy Dragon Flame Cave." Lin Xian frowned. "It's a flame tide," Murong Qing said. That's right, it was a flame tide. Just as Xiao Xinyue went out, she realized that the flames in front of her had filled the entire passage and swept over. She quickly rushed in and closed the secret door. She knew that at this speed, if she was not in this room, she would definitely not be able to escape if she ran. She would definitely be swallowed by the flames. Fortunately, the secret door was sealed well. The flames could not pour in, but the terrifying power of the flames was heating up the place. "Beautiful sister, how long will this flame tide last?" Lin Xian asked. Murong Qing shook her head. "I've only heard of it, but I've never seen it. I'm not sure, but according to the current situation, if the flame tide doesn't stop, we will all die here." Although their ice attribute was strong, their realm was still there. How could the ice attribute power of a thunder tribulation realm be stronger than the heat of the flame tide and lower their temperature? At most, it could slow down the temperature increase. Murong Qing was in the heavenly venerable realm, but her attribute was time. Under such circumstances, she had no other way. What could they do now? Lin Xian was of the spatial attribute, but he could not send them out, because he did not have enough strength, and they had already been here for many hours. This distance was impossible, and the outside was filled with flames. The entire Holy Dragon Flame Cave was probably filled with terrifying flames. Without any gaps, if they went out, they would be in the middle of a terrifying flame tide. The second method was to use an extremely strong ice attribute to lower the temperature. But they didn't. Perhaps there was a third one, which was perseverance. Everyone was drenched, and the scorching heat made them feel as if the already thin oxygen was about to disappear. Shua Lin Xian's body erupted with a burst of cold energy. Perhaps his ice attribute wasn't as good as Han Chushue's or Xiao Xinyue's, but he was at least a 6-star Thunder Tribulation Realm cultivator. Plus, with his ice attribute power, every bit of improvement was worth it. Lin Xian's ice attribute power lit up, and everyone was shocked. Murong Qing was also stunned. Xiao Xinyu was even more stunned. Space, lightning, ice, 3 attributes. This Lin Xian was too terrifying. Plus Lin Xian's ice attribute power, the 3 of them could reduce the temperature even more. Here! Lin Xian threw a spirit recovery pill to Xiao Xinyue. Xiao Xinyu looked at it doubtfully, and then took it without hesitation. The moment she took the spirit recovery pill, she felt the spiritual power in her body recovering rapidly, and it recovered a lot. She was shocked. What kind of divine item was this? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The temperature here had reached more than 200 degrees. Under normal circumstances, everything would have been cooked. Fortunately, their realm was not low, and with the help of their spiritual power, they could withstand this terrifying heat. The temperature was slowly dropping under the ice attribute power of the 3, which meant the eruption of flames outside had ended, and they were slowly lowering the temperature. The temperature finally dropped to a more bearable level. The 3 of them were completely exhausted, and directly fell to the ground, panting. Murong Qing and Ling Ying hurried over to support them. Take this and recover your physical strength. Murong Qing gave each of them a green leaf, and they could feel their physical strength recovering. It could be considered a daunting experience without any danger. If there was another 20 minutes of flames, they would probably be cooked. Lin Xian also finally understood how terrifying the flames were. However, it was a daunting experience without any danger. However, there was a very important reason why they could hold on until now, and that was Lin Xian's spirit recovery pill. Ling Long Shui gave them the spirit recovery pill. Without the spirit recovery pill, their spiritual power couldn't support the ice attribute power, and they would have been cooked long ago. However, they didn't have the spirit recovery pill now. There won't be a second flame tide, right? Lin Xian gasped and asked. Murong Qing shook her head. No, even if there is, it will take a long time. The flame tide is similar to a kind of power accumulation, and it needs time to accumulate fire attribute power. Lin Xian sighed in relief. That's good. But you also have ice attribute. Murong Qing looked at Lin Xian as if she was looking at a monster. Space, thunder, and ice attributes. Logically speaking, any one of these 3 attributes was a rare attribute, and it was enough for anyone to have one. However, all 3 were on one person, and he even had the space attribute. This was simply too abnormal. Xiao Xinyu also looked at Lin Xian in shock. Maybe this is a genius, Lin Xian said with a smile. No, this is a monster. In the future, if you reach the Law Realm, the Domain Realm, or the Heavenly Venerable Realm, you have 3 rare attributes while others have 1 attribute. In terms of combat power, it's simply shocking. However, there's also a disadvantage. Others cultivate 1 attribute, but you have to divide your attention to cultivate 3 attributes. Lin Xian nodded. Of course he knew, but he didn't care. Because as long as he completed the task, he didn't have to worry about anything. Everyone, let's rest here for a while and recover our spiritual power and physical strength. Then we'll go out. The eruption of this flame tide is good news. Under such a flame tide, all the demonic beasts and martial artists will probably die. Only the Empyreans might be able to survive. We were lucky enough to be in the room, otherwise we would have died as well. In the following path, we will most likely be obstructed by traps. As for demonic beasts, there should be very strong fire attribute demonic beasts. Murong Qing nodded. I can still deal with heavenly venerables, but if there are demonic beasts above the heavenly venerable realm, then our lives will end here. Above the heavenly venerable realm. Wasn't that too exaggerated? Chapter 683. An hour later, Lin Xian slowly pushed open the secret door of the secret room. There were no more flames outside. Of course, the temperature was higher than before, but the flame tide had passed and this place had been cleared. "Come out, there shouldn't be any danger," Lin Xian said to them, and then the four beauties walked out one after another. Lin Xian said, "There aren't many spirit recovery pills left, but the temperature here is still very high. We need to use spirit power to resist, so we don't have much time left. Everyone hurry up, we can't waste any more time." Then the five of them sped up and rushed forward. "Lin Xian, I'll be at the front, you go behind." Murong Qing caught up with Lin Xian and said, "No, I'll be at the front." Lin Xian shook his head and said, "I'm stronger than you." Murong Qing said, "If they encountered a trap or something, she should be fine as a sky sovereign, right?" However, although Lin Xian was not weak in the Thunder Tribulation realm, facing the traps here, it was definitely not enough. "But I'm a man." Lin Xian said this and walked forward. Murong Qing was stunned in place. Logically speaking, in this kind of environment, Lin Xian's words were simply too lethal to girls. In fact, there was a bigger reason why Lin Xian was at the front, and that was because he had the Eye of Insight. In addition to seeing the direction of the flow of spirit power, the Eye of Insight could also detect the traps, so he was definitely the best choice to be at the front. Murong Qing didn't know, so she was extremely touched. This kind of man was worthy of a girl entrusting her life to. Compared to Gong Sun Jun and Wang Haiyang, it was a stark contrast. He was obviously not strong, but he still wanted to be the first to go. "Forget it, let him be." Murong Qing was more cautious and used the time attribute to protect herself. Lin Xian suddenly stopped in front. "What's wrong?" Ling Ying asked doubtfully. "There's a trap in front," Lin Xian said. In front of them was a passageway that did not seem to have any clues at all. The few of them revealed puzzled expressions. It was within their expectations that there would be traps, but how did he know? Moreover, Lin Xian didn't even stop to observe carefully before directly saying that there was a mechanism here. "You don't believe me?" Lin Xian asked. Ling Ying and Han Chushua chose to believe in Lin Xian. After all, they were Lin Xian's women. However, Xiao Xinhua felt that it was too bizarre. She definitely had her doubts. Lin Xian thought for a moment and said, 20 meters in front of us are all traps. You guys back off." Then they retreated a little. Lin Xian grabbed the wall with his hand, and then directly pinched off a piece of stone. Whoosh! Then the stone was thrown forward. Whoosh! In the next instant, the entire passageway erupted in terrifying flames. The intensity of these flames was probably enough to burn a law adept to death. Xiao Xinua's mouth opened slightly. How mysterious. How did he find out? Logically speaking, Lin Xian was too lazy to demonstrate. He could have just released his spatial attribute and brought them 20 meters away. Why did he need to demonstrate? There were two reasons. They needed a leader. Normally it should be Murong Qing, but Lin Xian had the Eye of Spiritual Insight, so it had to be him. If there were only the four of them, at least Ling Ying and Han Chushue would unconditionally trust Lin Xian. However, there was also Xiao Xinhua. She wasn't familiar with Lin Xian, so why would she choose to trust him unconditionally? Therefore, Lin Xian needed to demonstrate to let her know who to listen to. Although she was very smart, they weren't familiar with each other. It was inevitable that she would make a big mistake because of them. The second reason was to show off. This was his mission goal. If he didn't show off now, when would he? "Do you believe me now?" Lin Xian said to Xiao Xinhua. Xiao Xinhua didn't say much. She just nodded slightly. Yes, she believed him. "Let's go." Whoosh! Lin Xian released his spatial attribute and brought them to the front. An hour later, they were once again trapped in front of the lava moat. In front of them was a cliff that was hundreds of meters high. There was no way to cross it. It was all magma below. However, they stopped this time. Because they saw several powerhouses sitting in front of them, meditating and recuperating from their injuries. They could see that many parts of their bodies had been burned black. It was likely that the flame tide had just erupted. They had nowhere to hide, so they could only use their own strength to resist the power of the flame tide. It really wasn't easy. There were 5 of them in total, and dozens of them had been reduced to white bones. There was nothing left of their corpses. To be able to resist the flame tide for so long, the weakest of the 5 was in the celestial venerable realm. Even domain realm cultivators could only resist for a very short time. Sensing the movements in their surroundings, they opened their eyes one after another as they were recuperating. Of the 5 people, 3 were old men and 2 looked to be at least 50 years old. When they opened their eyes and saw these beautiful women, they couldn't help but be stunned subconsciously. However, they didn't do anything special. Of course, they were also surprised. After all, they had experienced the flame tide just now. These people were so young, how could they be unharmed? One of the old men stood up and took a deep breath. He glanced at them sharply. How did you resist the flame tide just now? It was strange. It was too fake. Could it be that they had some ability to resist the flame tide or the power of the flame here? If he got it, wouldn't he be able to reach the end? This was the demonic beast domain. Demonic beasts weren't the only dangerous things. Sometimes martial artists were even more terrifying than demonic beasts. Lin Xian said, "We found 2 secret doors behind us. One of them was a room. We hid in the room and closed the secret door. The flame tide didn't seep into the room. Otherwise, with our strength, how could we resist the flame tide? Senior, don't you think so?" They came to a sudden realization. Another old man stood up. "So it's the 2 secret doors that we found. You're quite smart. However, you can go back now that you've reached here." Another person said. "Why?" Lin Xian asked. "Because although there's a path ahead, we can't go through it." Lin Xian frowned. He could see that there was a passage 100 meters away. Why couldn't they go through it? "We're the first batch of martial artists to enter here. More than a dozen of us have already died in the magma ahead." "Why?" Lin Xian asked in confusion. "If you're not afraid of death, you can try." "Ha ha, cough cough." 2 of them laughed, but they started coughing again, probably because their laughter pulled at their wounds. Then the old man explained. "Come, take a look below." Lin Xian and the others walked forward and looked below the magma. Then their pupils shrank. Chapter 684. It was the same black shadow under the magma. That's right, it was the black shadow of the demonic beast they saw under the magma in the first magma chasm. At this moment, the black shadow continued to swim in the magma without disappearing. It just swam without appearing or attacking them. "Watch carefully." The old man grabbed the bones of a corpse and threw it forward. Whoosh! A flame shot out from below. At the same time, it was accompanied by a dragon's roar. Then the white bone turned into dust. Lin Xian, "That is?" Xiao Xinyu frowned and asked curiously. "There's no harm in telling you guys. Otherwise, it's not a good thing if you don't know. There's an extremely powerful demonic beast under the magma. It won't appear or attack us. Even if we stand on top of the magma, it won't affect us no matter how loud we make. However, once it appears on top of the magma and tries to fly forward, it will release a terrifying flame energy. Even heavenly venerables can't withstand this flame energy. It's like the guardian beast here, forbidding everyone from going forward." "Sigh, there were more than 10 heavenly venerables in our group, but only the 5 of us are left. We killed several heavenly venerables and overcame all the difficulties to get here. But now we can't even go forward." An old man sighed. They were the first batch to enter this place. They might have killed the adult golden fire crystal beasts, so the people behind them only encountered some young demonic beasts. It could be said that they had taken care of some dangers for the people behind them. However, they didn't need to thank them because this was what they had to go through. In other words, there was no one in front of them. They had become the first batch to enter this place, and they didn't know what was ahead of them. "Sigh, after getting injured, we didn't get anything in the end. The most likely place to find the heaven and earth spiritual treasure is in front of us. We should be almost at the end of it. It's a pity that we can't go through. Let's go back, the old man said. Wait, maybe I can let you go through, Lin Xian said. Ling Ying and the others looked at Lin Xian in confusion. Why would he help them? You. Ha ha ha. They couldn't help but laugh. Go over there and let this old man take a look. If you want to go over there safely, the only way is to use the spatial attribute. Otherwise, no matter how fast you are, you will be captured by that power. What do you think you should do? The old man's smile froze on his face as he saw Lin Xian's silhouette disappear from where he stood and reappear more than 10 meters away. Clearly sensing the fluctuations in the surrounding space was still very easy for Empyrean powerhouses. You are of the spatial attribute. Perhaps some people thought that the spatial attribute wasn't that rare, but reality had proven that it was indeed rare. How rare was it? Therefore, even if their intentions are not pure, they will definitely not do anything to us. Instead, to us, they are our bodyguards. As for the treasures, Lin Xian stroked his chin. I think that there might be many treasures, but the real treasures will definitely not be easy to find. Because Lin Xian had the Eye of Cave Spirit, he needed someone to clear the obstacles. Then, with the help of the Eye of Cave Spirit, he could explore places that others could not explore. Lin Xian was the most likely person to find the real treasures in this sacred dragon flame cave. All right, I believe you, Ling Ying said. Xiao Xinyu glanced at Lin Xian again. This youth, who looked younger than her, had displayed extraordinary wisdom. In such a short period of time, his words and actions had made her admire him. Lin Xian is right. The unexplored places still need some people to send themselves to their deaths. Let's go. Then, the 5 of them disappeared and arrived on the other side. Beside them, the 5 powerhouses did not move forward. Instead, they waited for Lin Xian. At first, they wanted to directly enter and ignore the people behind them. However, they suddenly thought that even if they returned, they still needed this youth. Therefore, they could only wait. Chapter 685. Seniors, we don't want anything else. We're not that strong. We just hope to follow behind you and ask for some treasures that you don't want, but that will definitely be of great help to us. Sorry for the trouble. Lin Xian cupped his fists. Ha ha ha, you're too kind. You've helped us come here, so we'll definitely protect you and give you good things. You can rest assured about that. The old man smiled. Lin Xian's words made them relax their vigilance. Their wariness towards Lin Xian was almost gone. Because Lin Xian's meaning was that they could take the good things. They only needed the things they didn't need. Then, there would be no conflict in terms of benefits, and naturally there would be no conflict. Let's go. You guys just follow behind us. After saying that, they walked inside. Lin Xian and the others obediently followed behind. With 5 heavenly venerables leading the way. Wouldn't it be perfect? What? Didn't all the good things belong to these powerhouses? It was still the same sentence. The most powerful things were definitely not that easy to find. The most precious things were naturally the most powerful ones. Lin Xian believed that his eye of spiritual insight would definitely be able to display an astonishing effect at the crucial moment. Do you guys feel that the temperature here has dropped? Lin Xian asked Xiao Xinyu, who was walking beside him, suspiciously. There was no other meaning to it. Because she was of the ice attribute and happened to be beside Lin Xian chose to ask her and not Han Chushue. He believed that they wouldn't mind. However, that was just his opinion. In fact, the girls would definitely mind. Xiao Xinyu nodded. Yes, that's right. They had gone deeper, but the temperature had dropped. This abnormal situation made everyone feel an inexplicable sense of worry. That's right. The more abnormal it was, the more worried they would be. This was a very normal phenomenon. Perhaps some people would be very happy. Wow, the temperature has dropped. This feels good. However, the reality was the exact opposite. Lin Xian could feel the temperature drop. Naturally, the 5 heavenly venerables in front of him had also felt it. Venerable Huang, look ahead. The 5 heavenly venerables in front seemed to have discovered something extraordinary and stopped one after another. Huang Yinyan's eyes flashed. As expected, that demonic beast is a guardian beast, guarding the most precious place. There's actually a great hall here. Seems like the rumors are true. This is really the place where a dragon died. Before it died, it left all the treasures it had collected in its life, and even its demonic skills were probably left here. Maybe this great hall is where it's located. Let's go. Then the 5 of them sped away. Lin Xian looked at the golden palace from afar and was secretly shocked. What's the situation? Hall. After all, it's their own treasures. Naturally, they don't want others to take them away. Of course, many things follow the will of the heavens. If the will of the heavens is so, you won't die even if you take everything away. Of course, the premise is that you have the will of the heavens. If this palace is made by an extremely strong expert, it's very easy to create it. It's not surprising, said Morongqing. Let's go in and take a look. They walked to the huge entrance of the hall. How big was the door? It was dozens of meters high and dozens of meters wide. Moreover, the hall was blocking their way. There was no way out. It seemed like this was the final destination. But in Lin Xian's opinion, it shouldn't be that simple. Sweeping a glance, there was no mechanism. The door also didn't have any mechanism. It seemed like it was specially designed to reward those who could come to this place. After passing through the front, it was as if they had passed all the tests. Next was the reward. It gave people the feeling that this was the final reward. The scariest thing was that the temperature here had dropped to a normal temperature of about 20 to 30 degrees. They felt comfortable in such a temperature. But in a place like this, wasn't it too strange? Go back. We'll open the door. There might be a mechanism. Be careful. Okay. Then Lin Xian and the rest stepped back. Lin Xian subconsciously blocked Han Chushue and the rest behind him. Xiao Xinhua stood on the other side. Everyone's eyes were looking forward. The 5 of them used their strength together and the door opened a little. Arg! The 5 of them burst out with terrifying strength and slowly opened the door. Damn, if it weren't for these 5 experts, even if we came here, I'm afraid we wouldn't have the strength to open this door. Lin Xian sighed. Seems like it. Just as the door opened, a terrifying beast roar came from inside. Then, accompanied by a gust of wind, a black demonic beast rushed out. Be careful. That Huang Yinian should be the strongest out of the 5 of them, and the one giving the orders every time was also him. They might not know each other before, but everyone knew that in a place like this, unless you were extremely confident in your own strength, it would be best to stick together and have someone to give orders. Otherwise it would be too messy. Even experts would be chaotic. What kind of monster is this? Its cultivation is in the heavenly venerable realm. It doesn't matter what kind of monster it is, as long as it's in the realm. Kill it first, then we can enter. Let's go. Lin Xian led them to hide in the distance. A battle between heavenly venerables wasn't something they could participate in. Morongqing could, but she was one of their trump cards. Moreover, if they could avoid fighting, then they wouldn't. There were 5 heavenly venerables working for them. If they fought, there would be the risk of getting injured or dying. Why would they fight? Wasn't this a great feeling? 6-eyed blood bat king, I'm afraid one of them is going to die. Morongqing said. Ah, that terrifying. Ling Ying asked doubtfully. Morongqing said, the 6-eyed blood bat king is a terrifying monster. It's at the divine brilliance realm. This monster must be able to transform into a human form, but it's stronger in its original form. The most terrifying part of the 6-eyed blood bat king is its 6 eyes. Watch carefully. The 6-eyed blood bat king wasn't weak, but it wasn't suppressed by 5 heavenly venerables. Of course, it was at a disadvantage. Suddenly, the 6 eyes of the 6-eyed blood bat king flashed with a red light. At this moment, one of the Empyrean powerhouses that had charged over let out an inexplicable scream. Then he fell to the ground, clutching his head with both hands. He seemed to be in extreme pain, and his scream made everyone's hearts tremble. Bang! He screamed and struggled for a few seconds before his body exploded. The ground was filled with minced meat and blood. It was disgusting to look at. What kind of ability is this? Lin Xian was also shocked. Chapter 686. Most importantly, Lin Xian didn't see any power at all. Then that person just exploded. One had to know that this was the heavenly venerable realm. What kind of monster was this six-eyed bloodbat king? This scene was incomparably disgusting. Although they had seen corpses and even killed people before, the sight of a person exploding into pieces of minced meat was still nauseating. If it was a demonic beast, they would have seen it many times. But they knew that it was a human, so it was different. But it was still okay. After all, they weren't ordinary people. Murongqing was relatively calm. She said to Lin Xian, "This is what I meant when I said that the six-eyed bloodbat king is dangerous. If these people knew that this demonic beast was the six-eyed bloodbat king and had some understanding of it, then they wouldn't die. But since they don't know about it, then they will definitely die." "Is that the power just now?" Murongqing nodded. "The most terrifying thing about the six-eyed bloodbat king is its 6 eyes. These 6 eyes can release an invisible power. Those who know about it know that during the battle, you must not look at its eyes. But even if you know, you are almost unwilling to fight with it. Because unless you close your eyes, you will inevitably look at its eyes. And once you look at its eyes, the six-eyed bloodbat king will release that power from its eyes. This power will stimulate the blood in the human body, causing the blood to heat up in a short period of time. The human body will become like a sealed gasoline can being heated by fire. Then it will explode with a bang. Even if you are a few stars higher than the six-eyed bloodbat king, you will still be affected by this power." Lin Xian was secretly speechless. "There is such a power." Murongqing smiled and said, "The world is so big. There are all kinds of strange things. This is just one of them. There are many more strange things. As your realm increases, you will see more and more. Then what if we guard against it?" Lin Xian had never heard of this before. He still needed to know more. This was a bit awkward. While they were fighting a bloody battle in front of them, Murongqing was teaching them knowledge behind them. "You don't have to worry too much about this. The power of the six-eyed bloodbat king can only be released once after a period of time. That is to say, only one person will be affected. But what should you do if you are affected? Simple. Heat up your body and cool it down. If you are of the ice attribute, just cool it down. What if it's not of the ice attribute? Then just wait for your death." Lin Xian. Boom! A loud sound came from the front. A terrifying bolt of lightning struck the six-eyed vampire bat king down from the sky. Then the 4 of them rushed up and opened fire. The six-eyed vampire bat king became a corpse. What a pity. If he could eat the experience of an Empyrean realm demonic beast, he would definitely die from pleasure. The 4 experts didn't suffer any injuries. They looked at the corpse of the expert who died. They seemed to feel pity, but in fact they were secretly pleased. They didn't know each other at all. They came in together. In front of them should be all kinds of heaven and earth spiritual treasures. The moment the door opened, although the demonic beast attacked, there was also an extremely strong heaven and earth spiritual force. They knew that there were indeed heaven and earth spiritual treasures behind the door. With one more person they would have to share more. If one of them died, they would get more. Wouldn't that be perfect? This was the reality. Every one of them even hoped that everyone would die and he would be the only one left. It was a pity that it wasn't easy to realize. Everyone, it may be very dangerous inside. It's up to you whether you want to enter or not. If you want to, just follow us in," Huang Yinian said and walked straight through the huge door. "Let's go." Lin Xian certainly wouldn't let go of this opportunity. He led them in. Which one of them didn't come for the treasure? Regardless of whether it was Lin Xian, Xiao Xinyue or everyone else, they all came for such a big risk. The temperature in the hall was very normal. There wasn't any heat at all. When they entered, they were shocked by the spaciousness and splendor of the hall. It was a dazzling sight. In the corners, on the floor, on the table, there were all kinds of secret manuals, spiritual tools, small boxes and small jade bottles. They were probably all good stuff. As they entered, the walls of the hall lit up automatically. The hall was so big that it was beyond imagination. They couldn't even see the end of the hall. They couldn't see what was on the other side. There seemed to be other lights. Haha! Treasures, all of them are treasures. Huang Yinian and the others laughed crazily. There were probably more than 1,000 treasures here. Even the weakest ones were rare in the outside world. After all, these could be the treasures of that expert from the dragons. There was a huge statue of a true dragon here, which made it seem more likely. This is not the last place, Lin Xian said. Ah! Ling Ying came to Lin Xian's side. What do you mean? I didn't see the corpse of the expert from the dragons. There's no coffin either. The death of such an expert shouldn't have been easy. I didn't see the corpse either. Moreover, when the door was opened, the six-eyed bloodbat king flew out. How could a true dragon let himself be with a six-eyed bloodbat king whose bloodline is not on the same level as a true dragon? So this must not be the last place. But it seems like there's no other way, Han Chushue said. Lin Xian glanced around. No, there's more. Although he didn't see any traps, the hall was very big. There was an area that didn't seem to have any treasures like tables and chairs. However, that was still part of the hall. Lin Xian felt that he could go there and take a look. Xiao Xinyue and the others looked around, but no one moved. No one touched the treasures. They weren't sure if it was safe or dangerous. It was safe because Lin Xian didn't see any traps. Take whatever you want. Be careful, Lin Xian said. At this moment, 2 lines of words appeared in the void in front of them. Everyone became alert and looked at the 2 lines of words. Those who are here are fated. Each of you can take 1 item and leave. If you're greedy, you'll have to bear the consequences. That's right. That's the sentence. And this sentence made the hearts of those 4 Empyrean realm powerhouses crumble. Lin Xian and the others were fine because they weren't greedy people. Of course they were greedy. However, compared to danger, they valued their lives more. We can only take 1 item. Then we have a choice, Murong Qing said with a smile. Chapter 687. Since they could only take 1, they would definitely find the best one that was most suitable for them. The 4 experts originally thought that they could empty this place, but they didn't expect such a scene to occur. Everyone, go and find what you want. Remember, you must only take 1. Don't treat the words of the fallen experts as a joke, Murong Qing said to them. All right. Then Ling Ying and Han Chushue walked together. Xiao Xinyue went to find what she wanted by herself, while Murong Qing looked at Lin Xian. What do you want? Lin Xian looked around. There weren't many martial skills. After all, this was a dragon, and martial artists cultivated human martial skills. There were a few earth-grade martial skills here, and most of them were mystic-grade. However, there were 2 heaven-grade martial skills. He guessed that they were obtained from the human race and were placed here. The rest were spirit tools, but most of them were rare crystal stones and elixirs. Lin Xian pointed to the front and said, I'll go there and take a look. I'll go with you. Lin Xian nodded, and they walked over. The more they walked, the more it didn't look like a hall. It was pitch black in front, but the heaven and earth spiritual energy was very rich. Lin Xian took out his phone and turned on the flashlight. The scene in front of him made him open his mouth. This is... Murong Qing was also shocked. In front of them, it didn't feel like they were in a building. It was an empty space, and in this space there was land. And on the land there was a plant. It was the same plant. This plant was a kind of flower, and the petals had 9 colors. There were probably more than 1,000 of them. This is a 9-color spiritual lotus. Murongqing cried out in alarm. More than 1,000 9-color spiritual lotuses. Lin Xian was also secretly shocked. The heaven and earth spiritual energy was released by the 9-color spiritual lotus. Doesn't this 9-color spiritual lotus grow in a world of ice and snow? Lin Xian asked. Who told you that? Lin Xian said. Aren't all lotuses like this? Murongqing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. I don't know where you got this opinion from. The 9-colored spirit lotus has a chance to grow in a place where the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is abundant. And here, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is stronger. However, there are so many 9-colored spirit lotuses here. They should have been planted and then nurtured by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on their own. Murongqing sighed. This 9-colored spirit lotus was the key to creating attribute increasing potions. Because of its rarity, this thing had not been created yet. Murongqing was also looking forward to Lin Xian increasing her time attribute. However, this thing should be useless, but Lin Xian said that he had a way. However, disregarding everything else, how many potions could these 9-colored spiritual lotuses produce? How much profit could they bring? It was unimaginable. This attribute increasing potion, if diluted by 5%, could be sold for millions or tens of millions. Anyway, it was sold to the rich. Why is it a pity? Lin Xian asked. Because you can only take one, Murongqing said. But it's not the same. Alu. Murongqing looked at Lin Xian. If it's the same thing, then it's the same thing. If it's not the same thing, then can't all the 9-colored spiritual lotuses be the same thing? Damn. Are you playing word games with the strong espers? Moreover, the same thing is the same thing, right? Don't court death. Murongqing looked at Lin Xian and said. But this is what senior dragons said. Lin Xian looked at the void and asked. Senior dragons, there shouldn't be any problem with me, right? There was no answer. Then it's a tacit agreement. After saying that, Lin Xian walked over. At this time, 2 strong espers came from behind. 9-colored spiritual lotus. Their eyes lit up when they saw the 9-colored spiritual lotus, but they secretly shook their heads. Unfortunately, they could only take one. How could they choose the 9-colored spiritual lotus? After looking around, they silently left. Lin Xian plucked all the 9-colored spiritual lotuses one by one. Murongqing was speechless. Really, how could he be so daring? She prepared her time attribute at all times to protect Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian spent 10 minutes to pluck all the 9-colored spiritual lotuses and put them into his interspatial ring. Nothing strange happened. Murongqing was speechless. Could it be that what Lin Xian said was true? See, isn't it fine? Lin Xian grinned at Murongqing. Really, I will never come out with you again. Murongqing took a deep breath. She was simply on tenterhooks, okay? This brat was too reckless. Lin Xian smiled and cupped his fist to the air. Thank you, senior. Let's go. I've already chosen my things. You should go find what you want. Then the two walked back. However, Lin Xian turned his head again. His eyes flickered with a light that no one could see. Hey, these 9-colored spiritual lotuses. How many attribute-increasing potions can be made? Murongqing asked. Lin Xian said, one can make 9 undiluted potions. After diluting, one can make about 30 to 40 potions if the attribute is increased by 5%. Murongqing was speechless. A 5% increase in attribute purity would definitely cause countless experts to fight over it. This isn't just a small increase in attribute purity. To a heavenly venerate, a 5% increase in attribute purity could increase their attribute combat power by nearly 10%. Lin Xian's mouth hooked up. So, if this is only a 5% increase, then the bottle should be sold at a higher price. 50 million, Murongqing said. Lin Xian was speechless. *CK. He was just about to say 5 million, but this girl increased it by 10 times. Too low. Seeing Lin Xian's expression, Murong Qing asked doubtfully. No, 50 million. Isn't it too high? Murong Qing smiled and said, No, not at all. There are quite a lot of experts in this world, and there are even more rich people. 50 million in exchange for a 10% increase in strength of an expert. Do you think it's a loss? Lin Xian shook his head. That's right. In other words, these 1,009 colored sacred lotuses can make more than 1 billion. He opened his mouth. Of course, the premise is that all of them are sold. Moreover, how can we sell all of them? Don't you still have to make time attribute potions for me? Murong Qing smiled. Didn't I say that I don't want your money? Accompany me for a night, and I will immediately increase your time attribute to 100% purity. Lin Xian looked at Murong Qing with an evil smile. Murong Qing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. Do you want me to strip naked? Of course. Then remember what you said. I will accompany you when we go back. Lin Xian was speechless. Like hell I'll believe you. However, wasn't this 2F** king profitable? If they sold all of them, it would be more than 1 billion. What kind of concept was 1 billion? Actually, you might think that it was a lot, but compared to the real assets of the 8 great families, 1 billion was only a tenth of their total assets. Lin Xian wasn't sure, but it definitely wouldn't be too heaven-defying. However, if they had money coupled with fame, they could try to develop their forces. Therefore, when they went back, they could try to make the attribute-increasing potions. Save me, save me. Chapter 688. At this moment, a scream came from the front hall. Lin Xian and Murong Qing looked at each other and quickly rushed over. After rushing over, they discovered that there was an Empyrean realm powerhouse whose entire body was burning with raging flames. These raging flames were burning his body and soul, causing him to scream miserably. It was unknown where these flames had come from. What's going on? Lin Xian asked. Xiao Xinhua said faintly. It seems that he secretly took 2 things, and then his body directly burned with flames. Hearing this, Lin Xian was secretly shocked. Fortunately, he was fine. He guessed right. One thing was one thing, but he took 2 things. 2 things. The evils he brought on himself were the hardest to bear. This was the price of greed. He thought that there were no powerhouses here. He was a dignified, heavenly, venerable expert. What was there to be afraid of? Then he died, not even leaving behind ashes. Heavenly venerables were like ants. Everyone was greedy, and Lin Xian was also greedy. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the risk to pluck all the 9 colored spirit lotuses. However, he was lucky, or it could be said that he was more careful. If it was normal, Lin Xian wouldn't have taken 2 things. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Huang Yinian sneered in his heart. However, it didn't matter to him whether he died or not. In any case, everyone could only take 1. The fall of this heavenly venerable made everyone else give up on this idea. Lin Xian didn't care. Anyway, he didn't know him. If he died, then he died. What did he choose? Lin Xian looked at Xiao Xinhua. Xiao Xinhua wasn't familiar with Lin Xian, but she subconsciously showed him. What's this? Lin Xian looked at the crystal in her hand. Frost was forming on her arm as she held the crystal in her hand. 10,000 years ice, a super rare top-grade crystal. I'm afraid it's one of the most valuable things here. Murong Qing saw it at a glance. Xiao Xinhua nodded. She was of the ice attribute, so this kind of thing was definitely beneficial to her. Then Lin Xian moved closer to Ling Ying and the others. Little Chushue, what did you choose? Han Chushue also took out a piece of 10,000 years old ice, which was exactly the same as Xiao Xinyue's. Obviously, this was a good thing for those with the ice attribute. Their luck was pretty good as they all had it. Only 2 pieces in total. Lin Xian asked. In an icebox, there are 4 pieces in total. Then take them all. Han Chushue. Hey, don't court death. Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, listen to me. Let's go. Then Lin Xian grabbed Han Chushua's hand and pulled her over. Xiao Xinhua looked at them in confusion. This Lin Xian actually had such a good relationship with Han Chuxue. They could even hold hands. Although he didn't really know Han Chuxue, she should also be very noble. Lin Xian opened the icebox. Take them all. Han Chuxue looked at Lin Xian. Then she chose to believe Lin Xian and took the other 2 pieces. Ling Ying looked at them worriedly. Don't worry, Lin Xian can take more than 1,000 pieces. As long as it's the same thing, it doesn't matter how many there are. Murong Qing whispered to Ling Ying. Ah! Her small mouth opened slightly. No wonder. Sure enough, after Han Chuxue took the other 2 pieces, nothing strange happened. Xiao Xinyu saw it all. She silently looked at the 10,000 years old ice in her hand. What a loss, what a loss. As long as it was the same thing, it didn't matter how many there were. Little Ying, what are you? A heaven rank dark attribute martial skill, shadow cage. Ling Ying said with a smile. With her status, she shouldn't be lacking in heaven rank martial skills. However, heaven rank dark attribute martial skills were too rare. She was really happy to get one here. Han Chuxue walked towards Xiao Xinyu. Here. Han Chuxue handed her a piece of 10,000 years old ice. Xiao Xinyu frowned and looked at Han Chuxue in confusion. You were the one who discovered the ice. 2 for each of us. No need. Xiao Xinyu refused. You and I are both ice attribute. You should know how much the 10,000 years old ice can improve us. Take it. Then Han Chuxue put a piece in her hand and walked away. Xiao Xinyu lowered her head and looked at the 10,000 years old ice in her hand. She thought that Han Chuxue was a girl who was difficult to talk to. She didn't expect. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had been thinking about something. At this time, Lin Xian's gaze fell on a heavenly venerable. These 3 heavenly venerables hadn't chosen what they wanted. There were too many things. For them, the higher their realm, the better their vision. They always wanted to find something better. As for the expert in Lin Xian's eyes, he walked in front of the dragon statue. Suddenly, he seemed to have discovered something. He reached into the throat of the dragon statue and took out something that emitted a red light. Lin Xian couldn't see what it was clearly. Then he quickly looked around. Just as he was about to put it away, Huang Yinian had already arrived beside him. Venerable Zhang, give it to me. Huang Yinian reached out his hand to Venerable Zhang. Another Empyrean powerhouse also walked over. What do you mean? The 2's gazes fell on his hand. Dragon Ball. Their eyes were shining with greed. Dragon Ball. Ling Ying and Han Chuxue came to stand behind Lin Xian. Murong Qing explained to them. Dragon Ball is the crystallization of power in every dragon. It's similar to the crystallization of power in monsters and monster crystals, but the Dragon Ball is even more heaven-defying. According to the situation of this senior dragon, he should be at least in the Great Void Realm. The power of a Great Void Realm Dragon Ball is unimaginable. I'm afraid this Dragon Ball is the most precious thing here. Venerable Zhang, this venerable has been leading the way. This Dragon Ball should belong to this venerable, right? Huang Yinian said coldly. Venerable Huang, whoever sees it will get it. Why should it belong to you? This venerable has put in a lot of effort along the way. This Dragon Ball should belong to this venerable. Another heavenly venerable said. Bang! Huang Yinian didn't give them any time to react. He slapped the chest of the 3rd venerable who spoke. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Then this venerable will kill all of you. The Dragon Ball will naturally belong to this venerable. Huang Yinian, you're courting death. Ha ha. Your cultivation is below this venerable. Now, give me the Dragon Ball and I'll spare your lives. Otherwise, all of you will die. Huang Yinian said angrily. Fastrisk Sikiu. Do you think this venerable is afraid of you? Then the 2 in front of him started fighting. The other one got up from the ground and wiped the blood off his face. Greed flashed in his eyes as he joined in the fight. That was human nature. Lin Xian and the others quickly distanced themselves. They looked at the door and found that it was tightly shut. Chapter 689. The battle between them would definitely not affect them because in their eyes, they were no threat to them. Moreover, they still needed Lin Xian to send them out. This door. Lin Xian's attention had already shifted away from the few powerhouses fighting, and he hurriedly ran to the door. He pushed hard, but it did not budge at all. Murong Qing walked over and pushed hard, but it still did not budge. Then she frowned slightly. That's not right. Just now, a heavenly venerate powerhouse could at least push it a little. Why can't I push it at all? Murong Qing was puzzled. Xiao Xinue revealed a surprised expression. This sentence meant that she was a heavenly venerate. No wonder they dared to keep walking inside. It turned out that although they were very beautiful, the woman who caught her attention the least was actually a heavenly venerate powerhouse. There was a scream in front, and then everyone looked over. Huang Yinian had indeed become the final victor. Everything around him had been destroyed, and the other two were lying on the ground, twitching all over. Blood slowly flowed out, and then they slowly lost their vitality. Fight with me. Give it to me obediently, and you won't have to die. Bah! Huang Yinian spat out a mouthful of phlegm with a ferocious expression, then turned his head and looked at Lin Xian and the others. Killing people was a very normal thing. To Lin Xian and the others, this particularly outstanding scene in front of them was very normal, and not too surprising. You guys, have you chosen your things? Huang Yinian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and asked. To him, this trip had given him the most precious thing in this place, and he was already satisfied. Now he just needed to leave. As for them, there was no need to kill them. Lin Xian nodded. We have chosen, but this door seems to be unable to open. Huang Yinian walked over. That's because you are too weak. After saying that, he suddenly exerted force, but it did not budge. His brows suddenly furrowed. Then he exerted force again, but it still did not budge. Strange. Huang Yinian's expression was solemn. Then he looked at Lin Xian. Aren't you of the spatial attribute? Can't I just use my spatial energy to teleport out? Lin Xian shook his head. I've tried. When the door is closed, it's as if there's a barrier around it. With my spatial energy, I can't get out. At this moment, Lin Xian and the others suddenly revealed shocked expressions. Senior, look! Lin Xian shouted. Huang Yinian turned around and was shocked to find that there was a dragon's shadow in the air in front of him. The dragon's shadow was looking at them. Everyone was incomparably astonished. Why did the door suddenly close? And why did the image of a true dragon appear here? Senior. Huang Yinian walked over and bowed respectfully. Shua, the true dragon phantom spat out flames. Even he was caught off guard and was burned by the flames. Ah! The entire hall was filled with miserable screams. Then they saw a man on fire screaming. In a short period of time, the screams became softer and softer. Eventually they fell to the ground. When the flames finished burning Huang Yinian, not even his bones were left. A fiery red dragon ball rolled down from his disappearing body. Lin Xian. What's going on? Did he break the rules? The true dragon's gaze then turned to Lin Xian and the others. When? Lin Xian shouted subconsciously. Hua, sure enough, the terrifying flames were also spat at them. Everything was so unexpected. Why did a true dragon's shadow suddenly appear? Why did the true dragon's shadow attack them? It was reasonable to attack Huang Yinian because he fought here and destroyed the entire hall. But they didn't do anything. Murong Qing stood there and released her time attribute. Time froze around the true dragon, but it only lasted for an instant. Oh no, this true dragon's shadow is probably at the virtualized realm. Murong Qing said in shock. Her time attribute was indeed powerful, but if it was used on the true dragon's shadow, which was a realm higher than her, then it was completely useless. It's over. Such a thought flashed in everyone's mind. That's right, it's over. They couldn't get out and they couldn't beat it. Hua! A flame was spat at Han Chushue, and Lin Xian quickly used his space power to teleport her to his side. Are you okay? Han Chushue shook her head slightly. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. What to do? What to do now? Suddenly he thought of something. This true dragon's shadow was very powerful, but it didn't seem to have consciousness, and it didn't move much. Whoosh! Lin Xian teleported to Huang Yinyan's corpse, then held the Dragon Ball in his hand and released his space power. All of them were brought to the place where Lin Xian plucked the 9-colored spiritual lotus. Then they also felt the terrifying power rushing over from the main hall. What are we doing here? There's no way out here, we're just waiting for death. Ling Ying bit his lips. Pa Lin Xian slapped the wall, and everyone was very curious. What was he doing? Was he trying to smash this place and get out? How was that possible? Then they were shocked to find a golden light in front of them. Quick, go in. Lin Xian rushed in. When the last person, Murong Qing, stepped in, everyone disappeared from the spot. The moment they disappeared, a flame rushed over, but it was empty. Plop, they were like a human pyramid, falling down one after another. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was in a pitiful state. Could he have been the first to enter? Anyway, he was the first to fall down, and then someone fell on him, then the second, the third. Ding! Because host rubbed a girl. Prince Charming points plus 1 million. Alu! Lin Xian was stunned. He was purely subconsciously trying to push the person on top of him away, and then he grabbed something incredible, and he didn't even realize it. If it wasn't for the sudden system notification, Lin Xian wouldn't have known what happened. Then he glanced at Murong Qing. Xiao Xinyue, who fell on top of him, gritted her teeth, and her face was red. He didn't know if it was because of embarrassment or anger. It was probably both. She was also on top of someone. At that moment, she wanted to slap Lin Xian, but she thought of something and didn't do it. Cough, cough. Lin Xian quickly removed his hand. Hey, get up, I'm being crushed to death. Lin Xian shouted. Ah. Oh, I was wondering why it didn't hurt at all. Sorry, Shi. Ling Ying, who was on top of Xiao Xinyue, said embarrassedly and then stood up. Chapter 690. Xiao Xinyue also quickly stood up. Her face was flushed red, revealing her shyness and anger. However, she was relatively calm and didn't blame others. After all, this Lin Xian also saved her life. Moreover, he didn't do it on purpose, right? Then she glanced around. Lin Xian squeezed his hand. Seemed quite big. Anyway, it felt good. It wasn't a loss. However, their attention wasn't on this place, but on this space. Lin Xian, how did you know there would be a teleportation array there? Murong Qing asked curiously. This teleportation array really saved their lives. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to escape or fight. They would definitely die under the flames of the real dragon. When I came to pick the 9-colored spiritual lotus, I accidentally found it. First, I thought it was a secret door. I didn't expect it to be a teleportation array. Lin Xian casually said. So that's how it is. She didn't ask how he found it. Anyway, her life was saved for the time being. So, the hall just now isn't the final place. Han Chusha looked ahead and said, I guess it's here. After saying that, Lin Xian took the lead and walked forward. This was just a passageway. It didn't look luxurious, just like a simple cave. However, the temperature here wasn't high. It was even lower than the hall. The surrounding spiritual energy is flowing inside, Murong Qing said. Every one of them could feel it. They didn't have this feeling in other places, but it was here that they felt it. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth was flowing inside as if there was a gravitational force attracting it. However, the surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth wasn't high. It seemed to have reached a level of dryness. Perhaps it was about to be full. This was Lin Xian's feeling. He had long felt that the hall couldn't be the final place. When he was picking the 9-colored spiritual lotus, his eye of cave spirit detected a mechanism on the wall. That place shouldn't be a dangerous mechanism. It was more likely to be a secret door. So Lin Xian guessed correctly. Therefore this place, coupled with the feeling he had now, gave Lin Xian the feeling that this was the true final place. But we still have to go out later. We still have to face that true dragon's silhouette. Ling Ying thought of something and said. Lin Xian took out his phone. Unfortunately there was no signal here. Otherwise he would have asked Ling Longshui to come over and help. Let's take it one step at a time. Lin Xian sighed. Then he suddenly realized that there was fire in front of him. They looked at each other. It was originally a very dark environment, but the sudden appearance of fire made them feel that it was inconceivable. They also felt that they were about to see the final secret of this place. In this trip, they had all obtained some. Although their levels did not increase, the items they obtained would be of great help to them. Only Murong Qing's items were slightly trashy. After all, her level was high, so she needed better items. Han Chushue and Xiao Xinyue had also obtained the 10,000-year glacial ice. If they could refine it, the ice attribute energy in their bodies would increase by a lot. Perhaps they could even increase their ranks. Ling Ying's heaven-tier dark attribute martial skill was also a great harvest. After turning a corner, their target appeared in front of them. In front of them was the end. The eye of cave spirit could not see any other hidden doors or mechanisms. Everyone's attention was on the ball of flame. The flame was not big, only about 20 centimeters. After walking closer, they realized that it was an egg. The flame was burning on the egg, so it should be of the fire attribute. This can't be a dragon's egg, right? Ling Ying's small mouth opened slightly. In such a place with such an egg, it was inevitable that people would subconsciously think that it was a dragon's egg. It could be. Han Chushue nodded. The few of them surrounded the dragon's egg and carefully observed it. I understand now. Ling Ying suddenly thought of something. Everyone looked at her. The surrounding temperature has decreased, and the heaven and earth spiritual energy is surging over here. Therefore, this dragon's egg seems to be absorbing the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy and heat. Ling Ying's words made Lin Xian come to a realization. No wonder they felt that the temperature was gradually decreasing after passing through the second lava chasm. Moreover, there were signs of heat and heaven and earth spiritual energy surging into the dragon's egg. That would be incredible. A dragon's egg had been absorbing heat and heaven and earth spiritual energy for who knows how many years. The surroundings were all scorching fire attribute energy, and it was constantly absorbing it. How much energy was accumulated in this dragon's egg? Gotcha! At this moment the dragon's egg made a sound and then a crack appeared. From this crack they could see that there seemed to be a fiery red flame inside. The few of them subconsciously took a few steps back. Whoosh! And at this moment Lin Xian's hand directly punched over, and his fist smashed into the dragon's egg. Hey, what are you doing? Seeing this scene they were all shocked. Lin Xian was dumbfounded. It's not me. I couldn't control my hand and punched in. Lin Xian said innocently. That's right, he was also prepared to retreat. After all, he really didn't know what was inside and he didn't know what dangers there were. But it was as if a force directly controlled his hand, and he directly punched in. However, it was probably because of the dragon orb, because Lin Xian's hand was holding the dragon orb. This punch only hammered a fist-sized hole, and it happened to be blocked by Lin Xian's hand. No one knew what was going on inside. How is it? Ling Ying carefully came over. I can't pull it out, Lin Xian said. Everyone. Why did it feel so dirty? They really couldn't pull it out. No matter how hard they tried, it wouldn't budge. And Lin Xian quivered. Damn. Lin Xian couldn't help but swear. What's wrong? Someone is licking me inside. Hooligan. Lin Xian. It's true. It's biting me. Ah. It's so disgusting. The girls looked at each other. Inside. Could it be that the baby dragon was biting Lin Xian? Does it hurt? Ling Ying asked. Lin Xian frowned. It doesn't hurt. It's quite comfortable. Everyone. Whoosh! In the next instant, a flame rushed out from Lin Xian's hand on the dragon orb, and in an instant Lin Xian's entire body was set ablaze. Lin Xian. At that moment everyone was shocked. I'm fine. Lin Xian, who had turned into a living person, actually spoke. They looked at Lin Xian in shock. His entire body was burning, but they found that Lin Xian's body didn't have any traces of being burned by the fire. Ding. Fire element activated 1%. 2%. Chapter 691. That's right, the fire attribute energy did not burn Lin Xian. Instead, it entered Lin Xian's body and activated Lin Xian's fire attribute energy. This was King good thing. This fire attribute energy seems to be entering Lin Xian's body. He should be fine. Murongqing said. But in the next second. Ah, pervert. The girls beside them all blushed. Knowing that Lin Xian seemed to be fine, they were relieved and let out a sigh of relief. But in the next second Lin Xian was fine, but the fire suddenly burned fiercely again. His clothes turned into ashes. And then he stood naked in front of the girls. Prince Charming points plus 5400000. Lin Xian was helpless. How could he be blamed for this? He was helpless too. One of his hands was restrained, so he had to use the other hand to cover the important part of his body with the fire. But it was still seen. It was so awkward. Not to mention Murongqing and Xiao Xinyu. Even Ling Ying and Han Chushu blushed for him. It's a bit hot here. Xiao Xinyu muttered and quickly walked away. Her little face was completely red. What did she do wrong today? Not only was her chest pinched by this bastard, but also, this made her feel guilty because she had a boyfriend. Murongqing was fine, but she was indeed a bit shy. I'm a bit hot too. She walked away after saying that. Ling Ying and Han Chushu bit their lips. Their relationship with Lin Xian was not ordinary. For this kind of relationship, they were more concerned about Lin Xian's safety. They only took a few steps back and did not leave. At least they could see Lin Xian and his safety, so they could be more relieved. But this scene was different in Murongqing and Xiao Xinyu's eyes. The two girls actually didn't move away. Although they did move a little further away, they were still right beside Lin Xian. Weren't they embarrassed? Or was their relationship so good? Or were they just returning the favor? Thinking about it, it was true. Xiao Xinyu felt that her life was saved by Lin Xian. Otherwise, she would have died under the flames of the true dragon's shadow. And now Lin Xian was wrapped in flames. Who knew if he was fine now, but what about later? At least she had the ice attribute. Although it might not be of much use, with Han Chushu, their ice attribute might give him a chance of survival in a moment of danger. Worst case scenario, she would just turn her back. Thinking here, Xiao Xinyu walked over and turned her back to Lin Xian. Although she looked cold, she was the same as Han Chushu. She was actually very kind-hearted. Fire attribute. Unlocked 98%. 99%, 100%. Ding! Congratulations on unlocking fire attribute power. Finally, Lin Xian unlocked the fire attribute power. Perhaps this would not be Lin Xian's main attack attribute power. For the time being, he did not have any powerful fire attribute martial skills. But, even if he did not have a lighter or something outside, he could at least make a fire, right? Anyway, having more attributes is definitely good. Right now, the premise is that you can control it. Ding. Your level has increased to 7 stars of the Lightning Tribulation Realm. Ding. Your level has increased to 8 stars of the Lightning Tribulation Realm. Lin Xian's level also increased under this power. Feeling the increase in power, they subconsciously glanced over. Then they silently blushed and turned back. "Can't you put on some clothes?" Ling Ying gritted her teeth and said, "Damn, big sister, I still have fire on me. Even if I put on clothes, they will be burned," Lin Xian said helplessly. At this time, Lin Xian suddenly felt a connection in his mind. This connection was the same as the little guy in the dragon egg. It was a connection with him. He could feel him and his emotions. This connection was very strange. This flame seemed to be for this connection, and he was the one who initiated it. Master recognition. Lin Xian directly thought of this term in his mind. Demonic beasts could recognize a master, but this was almost impossible to achieve. Even if there were experts who had demonic beast mounts as companions, it was very rare for them to recognize a master. Demonic beasts must have agreed from the bottom of their hearts. After recognizing a master, everything about the demonic beast would be decided by the human, including life and death. Therefore, this was almost impossible to achieve, but now... Ayo! The flame on Lin Xian's body disappeared. Then he felt his fingertip being bitten by a small, moist mouth. Be gentle, be gentle. It was still a bit painful. Then Lin Xian realized that his hand could actually move. Then he pulled his hand out. A little guy was biting Lin Xian's finger with his little mouth, dangling there as if he was fishing. He was even kicking his legs cutely. Lin Xian was shocked. He thought that even if it was a dragon cub, it would still be a little dragon. But he didn't expect it to be a little girl. She was very, very small, about 20 centimeters. Like a porcelain doll, she was very, very cute. There was a pair of small dragon horns on her forehead. She had some baby fat, but she definitely didn't look like a baby. She looked like a 10-year-old girl. She also had a pair of cute ponytails. She was very, very pretty and cute. He felt that when she grew up, she would definitely be a beautiful girl. However, her body was too small. 20 centimeters, she looked like a little elf. But there were no clothes. Wow! Ling Ying and Han Chushue were directly melted by her cuteness. Seeing this scene, their big eyes twinkled as they walked over. Then they couldn't help but poke her gently with their fingers. "So tender!" Ling Ying exclaimed. Lin Xian suddenly remembered something. He grabbed her with one hand and pulled her out. "Hey, hey, hey, let go, let go!" Lin Xian was helpless. This little girl's little mouth was biting his finger. It didn't hurt much, but she still didn't let go. "Be gentle. Also, you rogue, I'm not wearing any clothes." Ling Ying quickly took out a piece of her clothes from the space ring. He tore a piece of cloth and quickly wrapped the little girl. Pop Lin Xian finally let go of her. Then she was carried by Ling Ying. Lin Xian quickly put on his clothes. So awkward. At this time, Murong Qing and Xiao Xinyue came over together. They gathered together and stared at the little dragon in Ling Ying's hands. The little dragon blinked its especially big and lively eyes and looked at them with a timid expression. "This is really a dragon. But are dragons born in human form?" Han Chushue said in surprise. Murong Qing said, "Dragons belong to the top bloodline demon clan, but they shouldn't be born in human form. Maybe it's because they have absorbed the spiritual power of heaven and earth here for many years." Chapter 692. Even if it was a dragon, it couldn't be born with a human body, right? Everyone knew this. No matter how strong a beast was, it was still born with its original body. However, this little dragon was indeed a very special existence because it was born with a human body. Although it was very small, it looked like a human. Of course, there was also that pair of very iconic little dragon horns. However, these dragon horns could generally be melted after reaching a certain age. At this moment, the extremely cute little girl was sitting on Ling Ying's palm. She blinked her big eyes and looked at everyone. Those big eyes were especially beautiful and full of spirit. It was as if all the girls were about to melt on the spot. This was a miniature version of a little girl around 10 years old. Originally, a very beautiful 10-year-old girl was already cute enough. After being shrunk, Her whole body was only 20 centimeters. It was simply too cute. Her big eyes were full of curiosity, as if she was curious about something new. Of course, there was also some fear. "Daddy!" She slowly stood up in Ling Ying's palm, then turned to Lin Xian. The small piece of cloth on her body was also tied properly and did not fall off. Then, she actually called out in a very childish voice, and opened her two small arms to Lin Xian as if she wanted to be hugged. "Lin Xian. Daddy?" No, this newborn baby could actually speak. And it was even human language. Moreover, who taught her to call him daddy? Dragons, were they so magical? "Daddy." It was another sentence in a childish voice. Perhaps because the first sentence did not receive any response from Lin Xian. Her second sentence was filled with grievance and sobbing. Lin Xian looked at everyone. "What are you looking at? She already called you daddy. Hug her," Murong Qing said with a smile. Lin Xian scratched his head, then gently took the little girl from Ling Ying's hands. "Kikik." Then a cute bell-like laughter came out of her mouth. "Oh woo." Then with a mouthful, she directly swallowed the dragon ball in Lin Xian's hand that was very big compared to her body. At that moment, the dragon ball seemed to have turned into a force that poured into her body. Then, everyone saw a wave of heaven and earth spirit energy surrounding her small body. The little girl jumped from Lin Xian's palm, then jumped into Lin Xian's arms, directly burrowing into his neck. She obediently laid in Lin Xian's clothes, yawned, then closed her eyes and fell asleep. The few of them were dumbfounded by what they saw. "Why did she call you daddy? She seems to have recognized you." "Ling Ying." Lin Xian looked at the dragon's little girl in his arms. Then he also scratched his head. "It's probably because I was bitten by her just now. Seems I've been recognized as its master." "Oh." Ling Ying couldn't help but exclaim. A girl dragons recognized him as her master. Not to mention other things, this was a dragon. He looked harmless to humans and animals, but he was still a real dragon. This was something that many people couldn't even dream of. "I'm so envious. I also want to have such a cute little girl," Ling Ying said. "But what should I do? Why don't you take her home and raise her?" Lin Xian said. Ling Ying quickly shook his head. "Don't. She has already recognized you as her master. She can only follow you. Even if I want her, I can't. It's almost impossible for a monster to recognize a master, but you are probably the first person she saw when she was born. Subconsciously, she thought you were her daddy." For a moment, Lin Xian didn't know what to do. After all, this was a little girl from the dragon race. Although he didn't know how powerful she was and how much combat strength she had, but since she was from the dragon race, at least she would grow up to be very abnormal. But he had to raise a little girl of dragons for no reason. What should he do? He couldn't bring her everywhere he went, right? It was also inconvenient. But if he didn't bring her along and she recognized him as her master, she wouldn't be able to stay at home obediently, right? Fortunately, she could speak. He just didn't know how high her IQ was when she was just born. He also didn't know if she could communicate. He would have to wait until she woke up. Anyway, before coming here, Lin Xian never thought that he would bring a little dragon home. How many people would wake up from their dreams with a smile on their face? How can you still look so miserable? Ling Ying rolled his eyes at Lin Xian. "Women are the most troublesome," Lin Xian said. Ling Ying, what a hypocrite. Xiao Xinyu also looked enviously at Xiaolong, who had half of its head sticking out of Lin Xian's chest. This was an opportunity that not even hundreds of millions of warriors could have. Unfortunately, it wasn't hers. Since it wasn't hers, it meant that they weren't fated. Perhaps at that time, the little girl would recognize whoever came in with the dragon pearl as her master. But who knew about this matter? It was purely fate. What name should I give her? Lin Xian was in a dilemma. Such a beautiful and delicate little girl. Course I have to give her a cute name. Ling Ying couldn't help but gently fiddle with her little pink cheeks. Ah! Then the little girl bit Ling Ying's finger. First she was shocked. Then she couldn't help but giggle. The little girl closed her eyes and sucked on her finger. Tickles. Ling Ying smiled foolishly. She probably swallowed the dragon pearl in one gulp and then absorbed its powerful energy. In this case she might be sleepy. A cute name. Then let's call her Dogxing. Lin Xian said. The girls. You're crazy. Ling Ying rolled his eyes at Lin Xian. Why don't we call her Longer? Simple suits her quite well. Han Chushue said. Okay, then I'll call you Little Long. Lin Xian gently scratched her little nose. In less than a minute, she seemed to be sleeping very soundly. Oh right. Murongqing thought of something and said, it's best not to let outsiders know about her existence. If they know that you have a little girl with dragons here, it will be dangerous. Then she looked at Xiao Xinyu. Of course she trusted the others. But this Xiao Xinyu, after all they didn't know each other. Xiao Xinyu naturally understood Murongqing's meaning. Then she said lightly, I won't tell anyone. She didn't need to explain anything. She didn't want to explain anything. She definitely wouldn't tell anyone. Then I'll leave it to you, Lin Xian said. After all, he didn't know Xiao Xinyu. What kind of person she was, Lin Xian didn't know. But Han Chushue looked around. How are we going to go back? Can we go back? Everyone was faced with such an awkward question. Little Long should be the most precious existence here. But even if they got her, there was still the true dragon outside. Chapter 693. Lin Xian pondered for a moment before saying, that dragon should be Dragonie's father or mother, right? Do you think it will still attack us if we bring her out? But I keep having the feeling that the true dragon outside has no consciousness. Although many experts still have a consciousness even after they've died, we clearly didn't do anything just now. Yet the true dragon wanted to kill us. There's no reason for that. Ling Ying said. Lin Xian pondered for a moment. What she said makes sense. But she has already recognized me as her master. She shouldn't attack us, right? Lin Xian said. But if you die, the master-servant contract will disappear. Under normal circumstances, how can dragons be willing to become a human's pet? Makes sense. But we can't be trapped here forever, right? We have to go out eventually. If we don't, we'll die. How about this? I'll take her out first while you guys wait here. If there's any danger, I'll come back. If there's no danger, I'll take you guys out. Lin Xian said. You be careful. Don't worry, I'm of the space attribute. At least I have the ability to save my life. After saying that, Lin Xian walked back to where they fell. There's a teleportation formation flashing at the place where they fell. It's obvious that it's the teleportation formation leading back to the main hall. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Under the worried gazes of the others, he disappeared from where he stood. Lin Xian is the most suitable person. First of all, Dragonie has recognized him as her master. This is a special characteristic. Second, he's of the space attribute. At least his ability to protect himself is the strongest. Even if there's danger, he can just teleport to the teleportation formation and come back. Anyway, it seems that the dragon outside can't come in here. Lin Xian appeared outside. The moment he appeared, the dragon rushed straight at Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian subconsciously wanted to run back. My daughter. But at this time the dragon actually spoke, and it's a woman's voice. The blood-red eyes gradually became clear. This scene made Lin Xian feel like there's hope. It stopped in front of Lin Xian and circled around. Seems to be a little excited. This should be Dragonie's mother. But it's just a shadow. Whoosh! In a flash of light, the dragon turned into a beautiful woman standing in front of Lin Xian. Then she reached out a trembling hand to touch Dragonie. But it's just a shadow, she couldn't touch her. Lin Xian, she's already very satisfied. She recognized you as her master. After a long while, she raised her head and looked at Lin Xian with teary eyes. No matter what, she's still a mother. Lin Xian nodded. I don't know why either, it's all a freak combination of factors. The woman looked at Dragony, then murmured, "It's also my fault. This remnant soul has been here for too long, plus the erosion of the fire attribute energy. It's getting more and more out of control. Plus, someone just destroyed this place, so I lost my mind and attacked you. I'm really sorry." Hearing this, Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. So that's why. After all, this is just a remnant soul. You can't be too harsh on her. That's good, that's good. She sighed as she looked at the sleeping Dragony. Even if she comes out, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for her to survive. Or maybe she'll be used by evil people. With her great power, it's also a good thing to have outside help. Then she looked up at Lin Xian. Even if I can't trust you, I have no choice but to trust you. Human boy, can you take her out and take good care of her? Lin Xian nodded. If Senior trusts me, I can definitely do it. That's the will of the heavens. I hope you can trust me. Take good care of her and don't let her go down the path of evil. Lin Xian nodded. Since Dragony has recognized him as her master, that means she'll listen to him in many things. Go down the path of evil. As long as Lin Xian wasn't a bad person, then she wouldn't fall into the evil path. Otherwise, if she fell into the hands of bad people, then they could use Dragony's power to achieve many things, including their own schemes. Perhaps this was what her mother was worried about. But what can she do if she doesn't believe in Lin Xian? She also needed someone to take care of her daughter. Otherwise, it would be a problem for her daughter to survive the moment she was born. Moreover, her illusory figure would most likely dissipate. This was the only solution left to her. She could only choose to believe in Lin Xian. It's just, Lin Xian showed a worried expression. I've never experienced something like this before, so I don't know how to teach her. The woman shook her head. No need, she's been absorbing the energy of heaven and earth for thousands of years. At the same time, she also ate my dragon orb. It contains all the energy I had when I was alive. She only needs to slowly refine it. You only need to protect her. I understand. This place should be collapsing soon, you should leave as soon as possible. Her gaze lingered on Dragony's body, reluctant to part with her. Then what do I need to do in the future? What do I need her to do? Let her live happily. Smiling faintly, the woman reached out her hand to Dragony, but her figure gradually faded into nothingness. Hurry, go. In a short period of time, her figure was already gone. In the first place, this shadow won't be able to last long, and with the sudden burst of energy, it's normal for it to disappear in a short period of time. Rumble, it's at this moment that the surroundings trembled violently. Lin Xian, fuck. Don't be like this. It's King collapsing. Lin Xian was dumbfounded. From the time they entered until now, it's probably more than 4 to 5 hours. Even if they were given half an hour to return at full speed, it still wouldn't be enough. Although Lin Xian has the space attribute, he's only an 8-star Tribulation Realm cultivator. Even if he released all of his space attribute, he still wouldn't be able to reach the cave entrance. If it was the Lore Realm, he could still give it a try. But he can't think anymore. This place is already collapsing. He must hurry back. Whoosh, when he arrived inside, the women were already waiting for him. Hurry, it's going to collapse. Lin Xian didn't have time to say anything and quickly led them into the teleportation array. When they came out, it was only a few seconds before the stone began to fall. Every one of them had a panicked expression. Go! Lin Xian gritted his teeth and released his space energy, all of them arriving in front of the door. Fuck! This is a scam. Dragony's mother is too troublesome, isn't she? It's fine if it collapsed so quickly, but the door still can't be opened. Murongqing released her time energy and stopped time, stopping everything falling around her. Then she pushed the door with all her strength, but it didn't budge. Chapter 694. Isn't this King over? This won't do. This door can't be opened by the strength of an Empyrean. Murongqing was also panicking. Even if she was an Empyrean, if this place collapsed, they would all be crushed to death. Everyone put in more effort. However, with everyone's strength added together, the door only moved a little. Their combined strength could not compare to the strength of 2 Empyreans. Murongqing was of the time attribute and did not specialize in strength. It took 4 Empyreans to open it. It's over, it's over. At this time, perhaps she was awakened by the commotion around her. Dragony opened her eyes and blinked in confusion. She did not seem to be stupid and seemed to have understood something. Then, she slowly reached out her little hand from Lin Xian's arms. Boom! A flame blasted out like an explosion. The door shattered. Lin Xian's mouth fell open. What the hell? Even Murongqing's strength could not break it, but she did? This was 2F** King exaggerated, right? Then, the little girl seemed to be tired and fell asleep again. Run! The entire Holy Dragon Flame Cave was collapsing. They quickly rushed out. But, could they make it? Boom, boom, boom. Stone after stone fell around them. They ran back the way they came while dodging the stones. It's too late, too late. Ling Ying said through gritted teeth. From the looks of it, they knew that in a few minutes, everything would collapse. How could they run out? There's still a chance, there's still a chance. Don't give up. Lin Xian said through gritted teeth. Although they knew it, they could not give up. Boom. The road in front of them had collapsed, and all of them were stuck here. Go. I have the space attribute. Lin Xian shouted and was about to release it, but Ling Ying pulled his hand. Murongqing and the others also stopped at the side and looked at them. Murongqing released time freeze again, and all the stones that had fallen in midair stopped. Lin Xian, you should go. If you only use your spatial attribute on yourself, you should be able to reach the cave entrance in a short amount of time. Ling Ying's beautiful eyes were a little red. He thought that he had survived a disaster, but he didn't expect to encounter such a situation. There was nothing he could do about it. What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Xian glared at Ling Ying. I'm serious. If you don't do this, none of us will be able to escape. But you're alone. You can get out. Don't King waste time, let's go. Can you not be so stubborn? Ling Ying's tears were about to fall. Of course she couldn't bear to do it, but there was no other way. Han Chushue also bit her lips, but she tried to show that she was strong. Xiao Xinue couldn't do anything about it. You go out first. After all, I'm in the heavenly venerable realm. If I only use my spiritual power to support a small area, time freeze can last for at least half an hour. You only need a few minutes to get out. After you get out, you still have a way. Don't you have powerful spatial attribute friends? They should be able to make it in time. Murongqing said. Nonsense. Don't think that I don't know how much spiritual power time freeze consumes. Even if you're in the heavenly venerable realm, you can't hold on for a minute. After all, Lin Xian had released time freeze before. Time freeze was different from time acceleration and time deceleration. In terms of spiritual power consumption, time freeze was dozens of times faster. Murongqing also sighed helplessly. Yes, Lin Xian was right. She could only hold on for a few minutes, but that didn't mean that Lin Xian could find a way to get them out. Unfortunately, if she was in the great virtual realm, then even time freeze could last for at least an hour. If it was only a dozen square meters, then it could last for half a day. This was the difference between the heavenly venerable realm and the great virtual realm. *CK. I'm not leaving either. Lin Xian cursed. What are you doing? Hurry up and leave. Ling Ying couldn't help but cry and push Lin Xian away. Han Chushue bit her lips and didn't say a word. At this moment, a figure appeared beside them like a ray of light in the dark night. Are you leaving? Lin Xian's body shook as he raised his head to look at Ling Longshui, who had appeared behind them. *CK. Why are you here? At this moment, Ling Longshui was simply too beautiful in Lin Xian's eyes. At that moment, Lin Xian was so excited that tears were about to fall. Traveling. Ling Longshui said indifferently. Xiao Xinhua didn't know her and didn't understand how this person appeared. She also didn't understand why everyone's eyes, which were originally filled with despair, suddenly lit up when they saw her. Time and space were indeed of the same level, but they were two different attributes after all. Time had its terrifying aspects, and so did space. However, in this situation, space was obviously what they needed. "Hurry up and leave," Lin Xian hurriedly said, and then all of them disappeared. When they reappeared, they were outside the sacred dragon flame cave. At the same time, they saw the huge sacred dragon flame cave collapse with their own eyes. Probably many people died inside. However, thinking about it, the flame tide should have killed all of them. This was what it meant to be a survivor of a disaster. Everyone was pleasantly surprised. Xiao Xinhua also understood why everyone was so surprised when they saw her. Ling Ying and Han Chushue were so emotional that they cried. At that time, they thought they were dead for sure and would be separated from Lin Xian forever. However, they weren't dead yet. Lin Xian simply wanted to hug Ling Longshui and kiss her fiercely. This was a goddess. "Thank you, Sister Linglong." Ling Ying held Han Chushua's hand and the two of them bowed to Ling Longshui gratefully. Xiao Xinhua also bowed slightly. "Thank you, Senior, for saving our lives." Murong Qing also breathed a sigh of relief. She was unwilling to die in there. "Thank you, Senior." Murong Qing clasped her fist. Ling Longshui's face was indifferent under the veil. She nodded slightly and then disappeared from the spot. "Hey, you're leaving. At least send us directly back to Lin and city." Lin Xian shouted into the air, but she had already left. Then Lin Xian couldn't help but laugh. "Laugh. You're still laughing." Ling Ying glared at Lin Xian and wiped his tears. "Shouldn't we be laughing after surviving? Why are you so disobedient?" Ling Ying couldn't help but cry again. It was completely out of fear. He couldn't help but hit Lin Xian's chest and then threw himself into his arms and cried louder and louder. Han Chushue was also secretly wiping her tears. When she was about to die, other than her family, she really felt that Lin Xian was the one she couldn't bear to part with the most. She also wanted to throw herself into Lin Xian's arms and cry, but after all, that was her personality. Chapter 695. In Murong Qing's eyes, there was no need to explain this scene anymore. Ling Ying threw herself into Lin Xian's arms and cried. Although the feeling of surviving a disaster is indeed a bit emotional and difficult to control the emotions in her heart, but this is Ling Ying, she still has some understanding of him. Before, she already suspected whether or not they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but now it is basically confirmed. She wasn't sure about Han Chushue, but Ling Ying is definitely Lin Xian's girlfriend. Even if she isn't his girlfriend, they are definitely friends. In any case, they must have a very intimate relationship. Not to mention Lin Xian. This Ling Ying definitely likes Lin Xian. Xiao Xinhua was also very surprised. This Lin Xian and Ling Ying's relationship is actually this close. For a girl to be outstanding, in fact, many times don't look at how many pursuers and admirers she has, but how other beautiful and outstanding girls see her. This is enough to explain the problem. In any case, in Xiao Xinhua's eyes, whether it is Han Chushue or Ling Ying, they are all worthy of her admiration. So when Ling Ying acted so intimate with Lin Xian, she was slightly surprised. As for whether or not they are boyfriend and girlfriend, she doesn't know. Okay, don't you feel ashamed? Wipe your tears." Lin Xian used his arm to wipe Ling Ying's tears. Ling Ying couldn't help but roll her eyes at Lin Xian, then retreated to the side to wipe her tears. Lin Xian looked at everyone then said, "Let's go back. There is no need to stay here. The most precious thing is already in his hands, and that is the sleeping dragony in his arms. And let's go back also, I didn't cry." Ling Ying glared at Lin Xian. Okay, you didn't cry, it's just sand in your eyes," Lin Xian said with a smile. "Humph." Ling Ying snorted. "Chushue. New moon." Just as they were about to return, two voices suddenly rang out. Then they saw a few people rushing over. These two people were Wang Haiyang and Gong Sun-jun. The few people behind them should be the experts they had found. Xinyue, are you okay? Gong Sun-jun rushed over and quickly grabbed Xiao Xinyue's hand, looking at her worriedly. Xiao Xinyue subconsciously pushed Gong Sun-jun's hand away and said faintly, I'm fine. It's good that you're all right, it's good that you're all right. I heard the sound of the collapse from afar. Thought, I would be fine once I came out. Gong Sun-jun said excitedly. In fact, they had already seen the situation here from the distant peak. They saw that the sacred dragon flame cave was collapsing. What could they do? He didn't dare to go in. Even if he found an expert, he definitely wouldn't go in. He even gave up. However, just as he was about to give up, he saw a few figures appear at the entrance of the cave. Chushue, are you okay? Wang Haiyang asked with a worried face. Lin Xian discreetly pressed Dragony deeper into his arms so that they wouldn't see. He sneered in his heart. This man is really a hypocrite. Han Chushu shook her head slightly. After all, she still had to respond politely. Xinyue, I just found this expert. I didn't expect such a dangerous situation to happen inside. Fortunately, you came out. It's not good to stay here for long. Let's go back. I'll drive, you go back and have a good rest. Then the two of them walked away. Xiao Xinyu, of course, was not a fool. She couldn't tell whether Gong Sun-jun was telling the truth or not. She only knew that the one who saved her was Lin Xian. Anyway, she wouldn't go so far as to break up. After all, she was relatively naive. However, if he wanted to continue to increase her favorability, this Gong Sun-jun would have a hard time. Why did Xiao Xinyu agree to be his girlfriend? In fact, it was quite simple. First of all, Gong Sun-jun had been pursuing her for several years, but he never managed to move her. So, Gong Sun-jun directed and acted in a hero saving the damsel in distress scenario. Needless to say, this method was really useful. Even if the girl didn't like you with his years of pursuit, she would feel embarrassed to refuse. Then he succeeded just like that. Xiao Xinyu still foolishly thought that Gong Sun-jun was her savior. Until now, he was still her savior. However, although she agreed, she didn't have a good impression of him. Therefore, although they were boyfriend and girlfriend, their relationship wasn't very good. They didn't even agree to hold hands. And today, when Xiao Xinyu needed him the most, Gong Sun-jun wasn't there. He said that he was going to find a strong expert, but in the end he didn't come. What she wanted was companionship. Of course she didn't care. After today, it would be very difficult for Gong Sun-jun to continue to improve their relationship. Young Master Wang, we are all very tired. Please drive us back. Lin Xian said to Wang Haiyang. It's no problem, no problem. Everyone quickly get in the car and rest. I'll drive. Wang Haiyang quickly said. Thank you. Then Wang Haiyang continued to play the role of a driver. In fact, he was very happy. Han Chushue and the others were tired. This time he drove them back. Wasn't it wonderful? It seemed that Lin Xian was helping him again. He should be grateful. At this time Lin Xian's phone rang. He glanced at it and saw that it was a message from Xiao Xinyu. Thank you for saving my life. Lin Xian smiled and didn't reply. This was loosening the reins only to grasp them better. Xiao Xinyu sat in the back seat of the car, looking at her phone every 10 seconds or so. She really wanted to thank Lin Xian. Although it was the strong expert who saved them in the end, she seemed to know Lin Xian. Moreover, in the hall, Lin Xian also saved her life. Then she sent this message. Logically speaking, Lin Xian should reply no matter what. She felt that it should be like this. Even if it was an emoticon, it would be good. However, the other party didn't reply. Then she would look at her phone every once in a while. So what was this called? A way to pick up girls. Loosening the reins only to grasp them better was one method. But what was the principle behind it? Emotions. If you don't reply, you will make the girl feel emotional and think too much. Then you will be one of them. Isn't that a good thing? Young Master Lin, did you get any treasures inside? Wang Haiyang smiled and asked. Lin Xian sighed. Don't mention it. We almost lost our lives. We didn't get anything. Not to mention treasures, we didn't even level up. This time we came here to do a set of steamed dishes. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Wang Haiyang was happy. They didn't get anything. That's great. Don't say that. Everyone is fine. That's the most important thing. Yeah, being fine is the most important thing. Lin Xian smiled. Chapter 696. Lin Xian didn't understand why Ling Longshui would appear here. Weren't they watching a drama? And Lin Xian didn't ask her to come, yet she appeared at the most crucial moment. It's really hard to describe the feeling of seeing her. It's simply the happiest thing in life. Did anyone get hurt? Lin Xian said. No injuries, and we didn't get anything. At this time, Dragony moved in his arms and poked her head out from Lin Xian's collar. Lin Xian pressed her back into his arms. Shut up, Lin Xian said, but in fact, he was talking to Dragony in his arms. Ah! Wang Haiyang looked at the interior mirror in confusion. Lin Xian smiled and said, What I mean is that everyone is tired, let's not talk and let everyone take a nap. Yes, everyone rest first, I'll try to drive as smoothly as possible. A few hours later they returned to Lin and City. Master Wang, just drop us off at the entrance of the Rose Hotel. Lin Xian said. Bei. Wang Haiyang said and then dropped them off at the Rose Hotel. Lin Xian and Murong Qing got off the car. Chushu, I'll send you home. Wang Haiyang said. Han Chushu and Ling Ying also got off the car. No need, my home is still some distance away, and I'm tired. No need to trouble yourself, I'll just stay at the hotel today. Then, okay. Wang Haiyang didn't think too much about it. But he wasn't tired otherwise. He would have found an excuse to stay at the hotel. Phew! They breathed a sigh of relief, at least they returned safely. As for what they got, it wasn't bad. Heaven-class skill, 10,000-year ice. Lin Xian was the most satisfied. He directly got a little girl with dragons. Everyone go rest, it's been a tiring day. I'm going to take a shower, I'm soaked in sweat and dry, it's sticky. Murong Qing said and walked into the hotel. Hey, aren't you going to eat something? Lin Xian shouted from behind. Come and eat after you shower. Murong Qing waved her hand and said. Then we'll go take a bath too. Han Chushua said to Lin Xian. Alright, let's go. Lin Xian smirked. Go. We are just me and Chushua. Go to sleep. Ling Ying rolled his eyes at Lin Xian and walked away with Han Chushua. Actually, it was just a casual remark. If Lin Xian was more forceful, they would probably not reject him. However, there were more important things to do now. Lin Xian caressed Dragony in his arms through his clothes. She seemed to be tickled and let out a particularly crisp and cute giggle, thinking that Lin Xian was playing a game with her. Lin Xian quickly brought her back to the room. Back in the room, only Lin Xian and Dragony were left. Lin Xian carried her out. Daddy! Dragony jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder and rubbed her face against Lin Xian's. Lin Xian secretly rubbed his forehead, then carried her and placed her on the bed. Dragony blinked her beautiful big eyes and looked at Lin Xian. What a cute little elf. Her clothes will probably have to be custom-made, but it's not that troublesome. Other than calling me daddy, can you say anything else? Lin Xian reached out and pinched her small delicate jade feet. This is really fun. Oh. Dragony nodded her little head. Lin Xian. Oh my god. How come this little girl really doesn't have any communication barriers when she was just born? But then again, it's not like she's a baby when she was born. Although she's very small. Her appearance is at least that of a 10-year-old girl. Just that her body is too small. She's really special. As for why, maybe it's because she absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth all year round, or maybe it's because of something her mother did. In any case, Dragony can't look at her according to common sense. Moreover, she looks so harmless and super cute. Can you imagine how much power she has? Even Murong Qing couldn't break the door, but she just yawned and blew it open with a spit of fire. Then I'll call you Dragony from now on, okay? Lin Xian gently pinched her little cheeks. Dragony nodded repeatedly, then couldn't help but giggle. Lin Xian didn't know what she was laughing about. Daddy! After laughing for a while, she opened her arms like she wanted a hug. Also, next time call me big brother, not daddy. Lin Xian said. Daddy. Lin Xian. Forget it, let's talk about it later when we're more familiar with each other. Lin Xian then held her with both hands. Eddie. Dragony is hungry. Dragony rubs her tummy as she grumbles in an aggrieved manner. I'll go take a shower first, you stay on the bed by yourself. After the shower I'll take you out to eat something delicious. Lin Xian then walked into the bathroom. The sound of the shower mixed with Dragony's laughter outside. Lin Xian didn't know what she was laughing about, so he stuck his head out to take a look. The little girl was jumping up and down on the bed, using the bed's elasticity to jump up high. But the small piece of cloth on her body fell off. See no evil, see no evil, see no evil. Wouldn't I be a fucking beast if I saw this? I'll have to hurry up and fix her clothes. After the shower, Lin Xian released the power of the fire attribute, directly evaporating the water on her body. This is one of the fire attribute's functions. After walking out, Lin Xian quickly wrapped the little girl's body with a cloth. Dragony was very obedient. She enjoyed Lin Xian's every move. Lin Xian then stuffed her back into his pajamas and walked out. Murong Qing had already arranged a private room for Lin Xian outside before she took her bath. Lin Xian walked in directly. There wasn't a single person inside yet. Daddy, Dragony wants to eat. From Lin Xian's embrace, she could smell the aroma of several dishes on the table. She fidgeted around in Lin Xian's embrace. Shu, don't come out yet, wait until the food is served. Be good. Okay. After all, there will be waiters coming in one by one to serve the food. That's why Dragony can't come out at this time. With her body shape and the pair of cute dragon horns on her head, if she was seen by anyone, they would definitely guess something. Wow, it smells so good. Ling Ying and Han Chushue came in one after another. They couldn't help but exclaim. Although they didn't fight much during this trip, but the whole process was still quite tense. Their stamina was also very high. Naturally they needed a big meal like this. Why did you come in your pajamas? Ling Ying looked at Lin Xian and said, then sat down beside Lin Xian with Han Chushue. It doesn't matter, you girls still need to dress more tightly. I want to see Dragony. Where is Dragony? Ling Ying couldn't wait to ask. Here. Dragony's sweet voice came from Lin Xian's embrace. You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.